And we're and we're back. Oh God, my throat would just close up right as I'm doing an intro. Welcome back. We are back. Um,
What a failure.
you listen here, you little shit. It's been a long week. um, anywhom, previously with this party, um, you all had made your way to you had gotten to the city of Mirage with a man by the name of Incarus, who you agreed to join his little dune racing crew for the race that was coming up within about a week or so. Uh, and you guys were sent off after one of the arcane fuses within the. I think it was an arcane fuse. I always forget these things. Like after 2 weeks, you always forget little details here. Arcane core. That's what it was. Not a fuse. Arcane core. And you were given three options on where you could acquire one. And you all chose to go to the junkyard of Mirage, where there was a dragon construct waiting for you. Uh, Magnus fought it off while the rest of you kind of searched around before finding the arcane core, uh, vanquishing the metallic beast and removing its head and using its head as a makeshift shield, which later you will receive at some point in this. Um, and on your way back, you were attacked by a white dragonborn bounty hunter who seemed to not have a very fondness for Magnus. After a very difficult fight and nearly killing him, he managed to escape using a crystal he had pulled from one of the packs on his side, simply muttering the words "until next time" before teleporting off.
Only after nearly killing us.
Yes. It was a close battle.
Bitch.
But now you have a week period to do what you need to do before this race. Is there anything that you want to try to get or find or RP you wish to do during this time?
Where the fuck's the guy with the shitty speeder?
Incarus?
Yeah, the ugly speeder guy, yeah.
Isn't he like a half orc or something?
I'm just saying, like, no, I have not bothered to learn his name. I only know him as the guy who owns the
Dune Cruiser.
bad looking cruiser.
Oh, yeah, you're talking about his Dune Racer.
Cruiser that looks bad. That's
which
it.
is called the Sand Cobra, is what he calls it.
I just know it is the one that has bad taste written all over it.
It's shaped like a cobra's head, and there's a reason for it.
That's why I know it has bad taste written all over it.
It reminds me of like something you'd see them sell in like a Hot Wheels line.
There's a reason I've designed it this way. All the cars are designed funny. Going to warn you now, but there's a reason for all of these things.
You guys ready to go off to the wacky races?
You know, you saying that just like
think of Mad Max, but like every car is themed.
Just saying that fulfills the self-fulfilling prophecy of this race being something Magnus could not give a fuck about because everything is already so tacky and in bad taste to him. Just like animal. Yeah, that. Yeah.
Hey, all the more reason to get that harpoon gun, right?
Fucking.
He just was getting a harpoon. That was his goal.
Yeah, I just want a harpoon so I can cause extreme amounts of suffering.
So I'm here for it.
You want to find Incarus during one of these days?
Yeah.
It's going to be about the spear and the shield, right?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll RP through this. We'll say roughly about 2 days after your little incident with the bounty hunter and the dragon. Yeah, you find him in the garage of the building, kind of doing final touches on to the uh, sand cobra. He glances towards you as you kind of come in, a bit of sweat kind of forming on his forehead from working out here for what you probably would believe to be a few hours. Uh, just kind of looks at you. Can I help you with something?
I need to know when the shield and maybe the harpoon will be available to me.
Ah, yes, of course. He kind of moves behind the car for a second, and he comes back around with the shield, which is in your. I think it's I already put it in your inventory.
Yeah.
So he comes around with this shield that has been expanded from the dragon's head, or the dragon construct's head, to produce. I'm trying to think of what kind of design it would be. It's almost like a. It's shaped like a. It's almost. Would it ovular would be the term? Kind of. I don't know how to describe the shape of it.
It's set up more like an arm bracer or buckler style shield than a
Yeah, and
full
it's a
on.
little wider, so it would go over the skull itself is a little bigger than your forearm, and it spreads about another like 6 inches to give you about like 2.5 feet of coverage behind it. So it would be good for pairing weapons and things of that nature. Um, he kind of hands it to you and just says, "How's this?"
This will work fine.
Good. And for the spear thing, well, I have 2 options for you. And he kind of moves over to one of the workbenches, and he pulls out from underneath it. There are 2 spears. One is barbed. One is more barbed than the other. The other one you do notice though that has it is a this cast iron spear that seems to have a slight green tint to the end of it, and there are these odd runes kind of wrapping around the shaft just below the arrowhead or the spearhead. And he says, "I did find a harpoon, but I also been messing around with a few things myself and made this." And he kind of holds out the spear towards you. He says, "It's imbued with a bit of unity magic. Uh, Adds a poisonous kick to it."
And you said that the normal one is more barbed
It's
than this one?
barbed. It would be uh, in
Yeah,
the case
okay.
that it would be able to. You could use
The
it
normal
to.
one is actually barbed.
This one could it like they're both spears. One it has a slightly higher chance of like grappling someone with it. This one does poison damage.
I want the barbed spear.
Okay, he kind of pauses for a moment and shrugs and slides the one spear back into its place underneath the table and hands you the spear and says, uh, "Here."
They can't fight if their bodies are being ground into the sand.
Well, I could say the same if poison courses through their veins, but that's just me.
Poison means they won't fall off.
You'd be
And then I can
surprised.
get the stuck in the metal. Use it myself.
Oh, well, it was your choice. Is there anything else?
Mm. No. I need, nothing that you can help me with. Though, the others are too odd to ask for concessions if needed, so it may be best to ask them yourself.
I'll keep that in mind. Perhaps I'll try later. Kind of stands there awkwardly for a moment before kind of turning back towards the sand cobra and begins to finick with the remaining touch-ups that he's doing within the hood of it. Is there anything else anyone else would like to do within this week period that you guys have? Any takers? Any takers? Come on.
Any takers?
Is anyone looking for anything at all?
So this stuff, these sand speeders are powered by arcane, so they're
Yes.
magical.
Yes.
I wonder if there's any kind of like bolts around here, like crossbow bolts, that might disrupt kind of like magic-based technologies.
You could certainly try to see if you could find something.
Okay. I want to look around, see if anyone's, because this is like generally a more advanced area of this country, so.
Yeah, there's it's a place that you'd probably be able to find things that are harder
Effect
to
is called, like,
find
what?
because this
Dispel magic or something?
Dispel magic. Actually, your character wouldn't know this, but it could work. It would just depend. But if you want to look around, roll a, let's say, investigation check, and I'll give you advantage because you have multiple days if you need to find.
Okay. Dirty 20.
Dirty
and
20.
A 9, so I'll take the 20.
Yeah. So you, looking around, you do end up finding a very shady place, nonetheless, though most of this place is quite shady, that is selling what looks to be these, what are advertised as arcane arrows. And there are also bolts that are of the same nature. And what you notice is these arrows seem to be imbued with a spell of some sort, some kind of arcane rune carved into the head of them that imbues them with a single-use spell. And looking around, you do find a couple that some of these people have, and the spells that are available to be purchased. One of them is a dispel magic arrow. There is a blindness and a deafness arrow. I'm like going through the list that I have here. There's a fireball arrow, and an inflict wounds, magic missile, and a thunder wave are the ones that you can find.
This technology is arcane based. Would electricity disrupt them at all?
No, they're runes that are imbued into these arrows. The arrows are destroyed upon use.
No, I mean, would electricity even disrupt sand speeders?
It could. It depends on it would depend on certain mechanics of the actual.
So I'll take a
race
stock
racer.
of dispel magic and those thunderbolt.
So Thunderwave
arrow.
Thunderwave does thunder damage, which is not lightning. Thunder damage is
sound. It's sonic.
Yeah, it's like a sonic strike type thing.
Okay, I'll take some dispel magic bolts.
So, going up to one of the stands and asking, each of these bolts, and I gotta remember the pricing again because I have pricing listed somewhere and I keep losing it because I have so many notes on everything, and I have a price list somewhere, and I just never know where it goes. Is it next to you? No. Where's my price list? I literally had this like 4 days ago.
Long time for Mayfly.
Yeah. Give me a second. I'm searching it up on my thing. There we go. All right. You can get them for You can get a bundle of 5 dispel magic arrows for roughly 400 gold pieces.
Okay.
And for the Thunderwave ones, if you want those, they are you could get a bundle of 10 for 300.
So how many for so is it 10 for 400 for the dispel magic?
It's 5 for 400.
Okay. It's pricey, but I'll take it.
Okay. So if you look, I think if you search it up, you should be able to find it. If you type in Arcane Arrow, you should be able to find the Dispel Magic one.
Okay, Arcane
If it
Arrow.
doesn't pop up, I can try to find it for you.
Okay. Here it is.
Yep.
I'll add it to my
So Marcus,
crossbow bolt.
mark them as 5 on your thing. So you have 5 of the Dispel Magic ones. And the way that'll work is you will fire the arrow, and if it hits, it will cast Dispel Magic at the lowest level. And if it's a spell that is higher than whatever the lowest level is for Dispel Magic, then what it'll do is you have to roll a check to see if the arrow actually efficiently works. You still do damage, but you also have a chance to dispel the magic, depending on the level of the spell.
Okay, I've got it added to my inventory. And do you know how? Okay, here. I think I can change the stack size here.
Yeah, once you add it to your inventory, you should be able to change it to 5. Should. I could be wrong.
Yeah, it's listing it as a single arcane arrow, 1 charge.
You can put a note in it, or change its name to times 5 or something. That's what I've done in the past. All right, so Andraka, do you want to try to do anything?
No.
No, Andraka just chilling, Jay chilling, doing his thing.
Yep.
Big fucking chillin'.
Someone have clown juice?
No, that was my microphone.
It sounded like clown juice.
Yeah.
Okay.
The other party
I've got
had clown juice. Awesome. All right, so you guys, I guess you spend your time through the week preparing in whatever way that you see fit, or simply relaxing. There is a period of time during that week. Trinket does kind of disappear for a few days, kind of runs off somewhere before coming back, seemingly as she was when she had left. Doesn't really talk about her time going out, just kind of. The moment she did come back, you all watch as she kind of goes into the chambers that she'd been staying in for an hour or two before coming back and mingling with the rest of you. And as the week comes to a close and the race is getting closer, about a day or so before the actual race, Incarus calls all of you to the garage, where you find him in there. He has a variety of items upon a table and things of that nature. And he turns to all of you and he says, now that the race is nearly upon us, it's probably time for you to get acquainted with what we'll be doing specifically. And he reaches down onto the table, and you see as he picks up what almost looks to be almost a leather vest with a cord attached to it. And you notice at the end of the cord there is a kind of a clip. And he says, for any of you that'll be hanging out on the roof of the racer while we are out and about, it's recommended to use this. This will keep you for a time from falling off of the car. Though if you don't use it, you have a higher chance of ending up in the dust and possibly being splattered across the sands. Uh, and I'm sure none of us want that. And kind of sets it back down. And he moves over to the car and kind of gestures for you guys to, or the sand cobra, and kind of gestures for all of you to kind of come over, and climbs onto the top. And you, now that you're kind of closer to it, you guys get a better look. The top of this car, even though the design is kind of odd, you notice it makes the way the hood, that like the Cobra's hood that is designed for this car, makes a perfect platform to stand on. And you notice with it too that uh, on the top there are little, what look to be bars that seem to be able to, that seem just big enough and probably strong enough to be clipped onto and to hold your weight if you were to get knocked off the car and you were wearing the harness.
It's handy.
He gets up onto the top. He says, for the rest of us, or anyone that's attempting to switch positions, and he reaches down and he places a hand on this odd rune that's on the roof, and it glows for a second, and a hatch kind of opens up. That, and as you can see, it kind of drops down into the backside of the car as like a place that someone could slip into. He says, "This will be your way in and out of the hole. So if any of us need to make repairs or get away from a fray for a bit, this is the best option." And he kind of closes up the hole again, or the hatch again, and slides off. Goes back to the table. He says, "Though, I'd probably recommend two of you being on the roof while we are racing. One of which using this," and he picks up a what looks to be a smaller sledgehammer. You could easily wield it with one hand, but it would be a little big in one hand. And you notice that on it there are these runes across the handle of it. And he said, "This will allow us to make repairs on the go. Though I would need to entrust it with one of you if you wish to use it. It's going to be necessary." You can say your thing now.
Journey will take it and pocket it for now. She's a relatively high-end character.
All right. And I'll explain how that works later on when it comes to the point of using it. And he says, "Does any of you have any questions for me on how this necessarily might go down, or anything that you wish to know more about?"
Maybe a good idea for us to actually know the rules.
That is a funny thing. Really, the only rules that they have is for no outside parties to interfere with the race. Other than that, it's kind of a free game. We've had years where only one car survives in the end. That's why it's a blood sport.
So you want as much artillery as possible.
Not always, but it does help. Though most of the teams this year seem to be relatively new, so I don't have a full understanding of what we'll be dealing with. But we will find out on the day of the race. And when that day comes, I will have, well, I'll give a harness to each of you. I'm still working on uh, one or two of them, trying to make the finishing touches.
Seems like the other racers will make a fine target for your lightning cannon and Draco, old pal.
And when you mention that, he goes, "Oh, and thinking of that," and he goes off to the side of the near the sides of the sand cobra, and kind of you watch as he goes up onto the top and like gets inside for a moment, and you see he pushes out these side hatches, kind of like cannon ports in a ship, and he says, "I made a few um, adjustments to the hull to allow your specialties. Uh, Andraka." All right.
He's the strong, silent type.
I feel like I should know that by now, but
As you can see, he always has so much to say.
Yeah, he's way too talkative, even for me.
yes. And he kind of closes up the hatches and crawls back out of the sand cobra and slides off. And he says, "Well, if there's nothing else, is there anything that you guys still are lacking that we need to get out for? Healing potions, items, anything of that nature?"
If you're still working on the harnesses, whichever one I will use, if you're able to make it easier to engage and re-engage at whenever needed, that will be useful.
I can see what I can do. The clips are fairly simple to use on the run, anyways, but
The importance is speed and ease to remove and put it back.
I'll play around with the mechanics and see what I can do.
Hmm.
Kind of looks at the rest of you, kind of seeing if there's anything. After the moment of silence or whatever, he just kind of, "All right, well, I guess if you need anything, you know where to find me. I'll be out here." And he kind of walks over to one of the workbenches behind the sand cobra, and he starts messing with a few gadgets that are on this workbench. That's like in like a back corner. Is there anything all of you would wish to do?
I should probably get some more health potions. Especially after that run-in with that big dragonborn last session, where it's difficult to keep people's health up.
The problem is that the good potions are way too fucking expensive.
We need an alchemist. One of those.
Are there other means? No. There's feats and spells, but you have to like learn that stuff. Well, if there is nothing else, we can jump to the race day if you would like. Moving a lot quicker
Sounds
than
good.
part of me was thinking it was going to be. Another part is thinking this is exactly the speed that we were going to go. All right.
I'm definitely gonna morph my clothes into something that's fitting for the high speed action. And also sand. Lots of sand.
So the day of the race comes around. You are all woken about an hour or two before sunrise. Um, Journey probably not too happy about that. Um, and you kind of woken up to almost not a horn, but a spell of some sort that seems to produce an alarm type noise that kind of wakes you all up, kind of telling you that it's time to go. Trinket kind of slowly makes her way down. Uh, how are the rest of you kind of taking this early morning?
Well, I'm going to kind of turn in such a way that I thrust myself off to my bed onto the floor to wake me up. Just because otherwise I wouldn't feel like getting out of bed.
So the rest of you just hear a thud in the other room as Trinket walks out, who doesn't have a second thought about the noise and just kind of keeps walking.
This is normal for Magnus. He's used to getting up in the middle of the fucking night and go the rest of the day. It's fine.
I just picture his eyes open. You hear like the sound of glass breaking like they do in the cartoons, and he just kind of gets up, just lumbers out of the room.
Yeah, he got to sleep in. That's fucking weird.
He got an extra hour. Hell yeah. And then Andraka was summoned from the roof. Andraka, let's roll a con save. Because it is getting colder.
Dirty 20.
You are stiff, but you are fine. You are good to go. You are perfectly capable of warming up at some point and actually being able to take on the day. So you all gather within the garage. Each of you handed a harness as he kind of places one on himself, even though he will be the one driving. Climbing, and then kind of climbs up onto the top while Zimmel opens the large door of this garage. And he gestures for all of you to join him up top and just says, just climb aboard. You'll be able to sleep in a little bit on the way if this is too early for you. He slides in.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, he slides into the main hall, which you guys didn't get a look in before, but as you guys kind of one by one kind of move into the space or like look into it, it's a pretty spacious space. The ground looks to be it's not comfortable by any means, but it looks to be cushioned for the vibrations of the vehicle so that you are not just banging your knees against like metal the entire time. And there's enough space to maneuver around and use a bow or cast spells and things of that nature as well. You also notice that the inside too is rigged up that in the cases of a crash, the hull is more likely to hold up because it has supports. He kind of positions himself in the front. The only actual like seat within this space, and kind of gets himself together and starts powering up the engine. Where are the rest of you kind of situating yourselves?
I'm definitely going to be inside, kind of like looking like one of those windows out where I can shoot out from there.
Okay.
Magnus is already on the roof.
Just chilling on the roof?
Yeah.
All right. And Andraka, what about you?
I guess I'll just climb inside.
All right, so the two of you are inside, and the sand cobra kind of roars to life for a moment. This producing more of like almost like a hiss as some sort of liquid system that makes up part of the interior of it kind of comes to life, and you see a bit of steam or smoke coming from the hood a little bit before it kind of subsides a little bit and the vehicle begins to move forward. And you guys watch, if you stay awake during the time, as you pass through the city, there are people starting to stir in various buildings, crowds beginning to kind of build up as they're heading towards the sides of the city. And you guys make it to the southern gate that you're easily able to pass through, and before Incris kind of slams on the the accelerator and just races towards the western side of the city, or the eastern side of the city. My bad. No, it was
Icarus,
western. Yes, it was western.
to
Yes.
be clear, we are okay to kill people. This is a death race. I've heard that term thrown around.
Yes. As
Oh, fun.
anything is allowed, except for outside forces, of course. But
Okay.
we shouldn't worry about that ourselves. I don't think we have any outside forces.
No, I'm just more worried about getting killed.
Well,
Okay.
I wouldn't be too concerned with it. I think we should be fine. And if not, I have a few measures to possibly reduce internal damage. But hopefully I do not have to use any of them. And
It's probably good that we dropped Dusk off back at her home. Would not be good optics to drag a child into this.
Trinket gives you a nod, kind of sitting there awkwardly in the back, kind of clenching onto her harness, seeming a little nervous. But you guys, after about 30 minutes of like driving around the outside of the city, arrive to where a very large crowd has started to build up. There are towers that have been set up out here. These they almost look rickety, but at the same time they're sturdy. They're not shaking in any kind of way. And you notice there are people within these towers, and several off to the side, like between these towers, there are several vehicles that have been parked in sort of a line, roughly about 15, 20 feet apart, of various sizes. And as you all approach, you can see some of the various teams. One of the vehicles looks to be heavily armored with a kind of chitinous shell that seems to go around it. A few orcs kind of gathered around it that are also wearing similar armor pieces. There looks to be another vehicle, another themed one, kind of like yours, that almost has the shape of a dragon's head to it, fangs in the front of it, as well as a group of dragonborns and kobolds, or two dragonborns and a group of kobolds, kind of doing last minute touches to it before anything starts. There's another team consisting of what looks to be elves and humans, all wearing robes, similar to that of a mage of some sort. And as you guys get closer, you hear what sounds like, what can only be described as an electric guitar. And Journey, you're probably the one who is most lured by this, and you kind of scan the crowd, and you notice a group of gnolls that seem to have a more of a box-like vehicle that they have, and atop this vehicle with several harnesses attached to this female gnoll, you can see she is holding what looks like an axe that has been rigged up to have strings across it, electricity kind of sparking off of the axe as she just plays it, just ripping chords in the middle of this scene. You notice the others with her seem to be kind of beating up on each other, doing null things, beating up on each other and cackling and laughing as they're ready for the bloodshed that is to come. And you see with them as well, you see a smaller figure, which looks to be a kind of a brownish gray Lupin, who kind of casually looks over the vehicle and is doing final checks on it at the time. And you all pull up to the your position that has been designated for your team. Ingress makes his way out and begins to speak with one of the what you have to assume to be an official of this, which is probably just it's one of the guards of the city who's just kind of out there and is checking people in for this race. And what do you all want to do while you are waiting, watching these scene of various drivers and crews preparing for the bloodshed to come?
Take my head out the window, yell to Magnus. You're good at this kind of stuff. Which one's the biggest threat?
I think he's AFK right now.
I think he actually took a nap.
No, he's AFK right now. He messaged in the chat. He's AFK.
I know, I'm joking.
Magnus is probably busy scanning the crowds.
I love that Null doesn't die, but her vehicle's not the most aerodynamic. So.
You did also notice with their vehicle as well, there were small rods that were sticking off of the side that seemed to be sparking as she was playing music as well.
Powered by music. Genius.
And if you want a description of this Null that you saw, she seems to be the biggest out of all of them, like probably the strongest. She's dressed in this leather and bone armor. You notice as well that the mane that kind of runs down the back, from the top of her head down her back, near the top in the front, there's a streak of blood red in it as well. And she's nonstop, like, ripping chords right now on this guitar. Or axe. This guitar axe is what you could call it. Is there anything any of you would like to do, though, as you wait in anticipation
I'll
for the race?
Icarus, who the most dangerous returning competitor is.
He kind of looks over at the different racers and he points to one of the kind of lower to the ground ones that doesn't seem to have a upper deck on it. He says, probably them, only because I remember last year they were hitting people with quite a few spells. Made it quite difficult for me to make it to the end.
Oh, I picked up a bundle of Dispel Magic bolts in town. They should try anything. Might be able to protect us a little bit.
That could be handy. I will say the dragon-shaped one is a little concerning. And that knoll is definitely not giving me any good feelings.
I'm just gonna...
Oh. No, you continue.
I'm just gonna look at each of the fucking vehicles because I'm trying to see if they have a similar just like similar rails that you can lock the harness onto.
So looking over a lot of the vehicles, there's only probably about 5 or 6 that have upper decks on them. You do notice that the vehicle surrounded by knolls has a few of them, and most of them have clips that are holding the knoll who is using the axe that has been makeshift into an electric guitar. There are several of them that are clipped onto her so that she does not come off the vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
Magnus, I have one charge of Dimension Door ready to go if you want to get onto one of those for a little boarding action, but there's no guarantee I can get you back.
As long as we get even slightly close enough, I can get on and back as much as I fucking want.
I also have a single charge of polymorph, but that would mean I can't teleport. So, decisions.
And Icarus just kind of... I have a few spells that might be able to help. But I will mostly be focusing on, keeping us from crashing.
Given these vehicles are usually powered by arcane sources, how many of them are made from flammable materials? They wouldn't really need to worry about heat when working from a magical source.
It is possible there are one or two that could have something flammable on them.
Okay.
I haven't seen under the hoods of any of these, so I do not know what is within. Some of them could just simply have magic, though, that is running a lot of the systems.
Well, let's try not to die.
That is the goal, yes. And he kind of starts doing the last minute checks, whatever, like checking everything, making sure everything's good to go. Is there anything else you guys would like to try to do before this race begins?
Gonna double check I have my harness on correctly.
Yes. Yeah, so you all are all situated, good to go. He finally gets settled back into the driver's seat of the Saiyan Cobra and proceeds to just wait, kind of watching one of the towers for a bit. I need to find a piece of paper. This one is not good. This one has things on it. This one does not. Good. I have my paper now. All right. So, I guess anyone who wants to roll a perception check for me.
Yeah.
I definitely want to.
Nat 20.
I only got an 8.
So, Magnus,
And again,
looking
I am
around,
inside.
you do notice that there, amongst the cars, there seems to be one or two small figures that are darting around between these vehicles, and no one's noticing. They never get close enough to your vehicle, but you do notice that there are these. You assume they're probably gnomes running around between these cars. And right about the time that they disappear, you hear a horn blast come from one of the towers before a half orc individual kind of steps out before all of the vehicles that are lined up. And kind of looking over each of the vehicles, you watch as he casts the fly spell on himself and begins to hover roughly, probably 20 feet off the ground, and points a finger into the air, and you notice that all of the racers seem to go quiet. All of the vehicles go silent as everyone begins to focus. Everyone seems to be in their designated places and ready to go. And there's a long pause before he shoots a fireball into the air and all of the engines start roaring all at once. And the moment this happens, there are 3 of the vehicles that are along this race line that explode. Magnus, because you're on the roof, roll a dex save for me.
All right. $22.
Okay, you just take a measly 3 points of slashing damage as shrapnel flies past you. You see multiple other racers. There are 1 or 2 that are just knocked to the ground. The ones that are closer seem to be ripped to shreds. a bit. One or two people have already. One or two of the racers have died. Like, seem to just their body rolls off of the vehicle that they were on as everyone begins to rush forward. And for a good probably 30 seconds, everyone can see each other. And then the dust storm begins to pick up. Or the sandstorm around you begins to pick up. And visibility
Chris, what the
begins
hell was that?
to drop. Oh, it says, someone must have sabotaged some of the other cars. That's why I did a check before this thing began.
Well, as long as it wasn't the floating wizard man blowing us up.
He says, we'll probably have our chance with them at some point. And I'm going to have you guys roll initiative real quick just to get numbers, because the way I'm going to run this race is you guys are going to keep your initiative orders, and new members of the fight will be their own initiative as well.
18.
13.
9.
Agnes and Draka. And Icarus rolls a natural 20, so Icarus is on the top. And Trinket rolls a 12. Awesome. So, I now have your orders. So, whoever wishes to keep watch as you guys enter the storm, the wind rushing around you, sand getting into your eyes, you watch as some of the ones that are inside notice Trinket kind of pull a scarf over her face and pull over a pair of goggles that she had in her pack.
I'll do
over
the
her
same.
eyes. And
I mean,
Glad we bought those goggles that one time.
Magnus would have had the scarf the entire time and the goggles. He's been on the fucking roof.
Yeah. You guys are racing through the dust. You can hear the sound of other racers. You hear in the distance the motors roaring. You hear shouts and cries of pain. Various other noises as well. And at one point, the ground around you can feel underneath the cruiser, the ground shake for a moment. You can see the sand kind of shifting in a way that seems to slow the car. And I'm going to roll a d6 to see what the first encounter is, because you guys have encounters. Yes. All right. So, whoever wants to roll a perception check for me.
All of us have a chance to roll?
Yes.
Okay.
24.
20.
You both notice off to your left this very low to the ground dark shape that is moving alongside you guys, and before it shifts towards you guys at a rapid pace and goes to ram into the side of your cruiser, which it does hit. It is going to do, which I do, so believe it or not, your vehicle has a health bar. Everyone else's vehicle has a health bar. So I have to track vehicle health. Because that's fun, right? Let me write that down. Perfect. Now I have those written down. And your vehicle takes... As the other car slams into yours, your vehicle takes... I need a bunch of d10s because cars do a lot of damage but can take a lot of damage. You all take, 12, 15, 20 points. Your vehicle takes 20 points of bludgeoning damage. So your vehicle, dents inwards a little bit. Nothing too major, just a small kind of dent in the side. And Icarus is the first to go. So Icarus is going to... you watch as Incarus throws a hand out of the window, and he is going to cast Scorching Ray at. He's going to cast Scorching Ray at 4th level. I gotta. And he is you notice he is aiming for the one of the orcs that is on the roof of this vehicle, which he is going to hit all 3. 5, 7. That's not right. Wait. Oh, that's how Scorching Ray works. So it's the 3 rays, yes. So he does 16 points of damage to one of the orcs that is riding atop this this vehicle. It is now Journey's turn on the list.
Okay, so it's sustained some minor exterior damage, correct?
Yeah, it's barely anything. As you can tell, it is a dent. It is not anything that is life-threatening at the moment.
Okay. I'd like to look at one of the portholes and let's see. I would like to. How close would you say we are if they just came up to us?
They slammed into you, and they probably moved about. They're probably roughly 5 to 10 feet from you right now.
Okay. I would like to cast Darkness.
Darkness.
Yeah, at the general kind of vicinity, because it's like a 15-foot radius. It spreads around corners, all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to cast that kind of like the general cockpit area / kind of like, I guess, the roof, if those are kind of like within 15.
Yeah, so you would kind of know how to hit the point, right? So you watch as an orb of just black surrounds them, and you hear. Does anyone here speak Orc?
I don't.
I'm assuming no.
Nope.
You hear this grumbling and growling coming from within this darkness, and a bit of I can't say tire screeching, but you can hear the vehicle kind of shifting around a little bit, trying to figure out why it can't see anything. The driver, at least.
And concentration, I'm going to keep that duration up for 10 minutes.
All right. It is now Magnus's turn.
They had the audacity to give us a fender bender.
I did. Fuck it. If I were to hit the driver with a ranged attack, would that be able to jolt them to like fuck up holding their course? Maybe give the chance of like.
If you
them
can,
not-
if you could hit the driver.
Yeah, then fuck it. I'm just gonna try to gauge it and toss. I'll actually because I'm guessing disadvantage because I can't see him.
Yes, it would be a disadvantage.
I'll actually make a reckless attack.
Okay, so it's regular attack.
Yep. A 19.
And you're throwing the Mad Blade?
Yeah.
You throw it, you hear a clinking noise, like a clink as it strikes metal, and you watch from behind the vehicle it kind of rolling in the sand for a moment. The axe, you don't know if it hit anything. You don't think it did because it didn't. It just sounded like it hit metal.
I'll bring it back with a bonus action and try again.
All right, you resummon it.
So it's like a demonic Mjolnir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a 24.
That one, roll damage.
Let's see here. It's gonna be 15 slashing with an extra. These are Okay, yeah, that's fucking. These dice are weird when it comes to 6s and 9s. That's 15 psychic.
It's 31 points in total. Is my math
Yep.
right? Yeah. Yeah. Easy math. Cool. All right, you hear the sound of some like glass breaking, before I wouldn't say a cry, but a roar of pain, and then several swears that you don't understand because they're an orc.
They hated that.
It's now their turn to fight back. You hear the sound of a clip from the darkness, and I am going to make him roll an athletics check as you see this. That's cocked. There we go. You see the orc that was on top of the vehicle emerge from the darkness and land before you, Magnus, kind of clipping in as he lands, looking at you holding a great axe in his hand. And he lets out a roar before attempting to strike you. The first one is a 17.
Nope.
All right, so he strikes at you and misses. And the second one is a 22.
That hits.
All right, so he is going to strike you for that plus. Where's my other dice? He's going to strike you for 10 points of slashing damage. And he is now just standing before you with his great axe in hand and clipped onto the top of your vehicle.
Prove that your axe is greater.
It is Trinket's turn, who is going to. You watch Journey as she leans out one of the windows with her bow, and is going to attempt with disadvantage to try to shoot an arrow into the orc. Because of her angle, she's at disadvantage because shooting a bow out of a window is really hard. She's going to miss regardless with the first arrow. So you watch as an arrow whips up into the air past you, Magnus, and just disappears into the sand. She's going to make a second attempt with disadvantage again. And she is going to miss again as she kind of... You watch Journey as she nearly slips out for a moment, kind of shakes, and fires an arrow somewhere off into the distance before quickly shimmying back into the hatch and panting heavily in a bit of fear because she almost fell. And Draka, it is now your turn.
I'm gonna do the exact same thing Trinket just did.
All right, attack with disadvantage. If you're... The reason I say that, and if my logic doesn't make sense, tell me. It's because you are leaning out of a window and trying to shoot up.
Just poke out from the hatch.
The hatch is an option, though like the position it's in, you would just be in their face, and if you tried to move away afterwards, it would proc attack of opportunity. Is pretty much what the hatch would do.
You could just disengage when you have to come back down from the hatch.
That is true, yes.
I will just open the hatch so I can see them.
Okay.
And then I will hit them with a ray of sickness.
What is required for said ray of sickness, my guy?
Nothing since I didn't hit them.
So
I got a 10 to hit.
You watch as a sickening green ray comes from the now open hatch, Magnus, and just kind of goes between the two of you that are up there. And the orc kind of looks down at the hatch and looks at you, almost a little confused by all the stuff that's just been flying around him and hasn't touched him. It is now Incarus's turn, who is going to use one of the vehicle's ability called Arcane Thrust, and is going to double the movement of the vehicle for a turn. So you watch as you all watch as you guys pick up speed, leaving behind the darkened sphere. What is the range on that, by the way?
It's 15 feet.
15 feet. You guys quickly leave the radius of this vehicle, and you feel that where the point is that sphere is slipping away from you, and it drops, or unless you just want to keep it floating there, it just kind of it follows behind you 15 feet. Would be the idea.
It might be useful, so I'm gonna maintain it for now.
Yeah. So you watch as the vehicle slips out of the back of this orb, and it kind of swerves a little bit as it regains visibility. And you see now that another orc has climbed onto the roof of the vehicle, now standing on top. And it is now your turn, Journey, as you guys have increased your distance away from the competition.
So, peeking my head out the window, I'm gonna what weapons are those orcs on the roof holding? A great axe.
It appears the new one as well has a great axe as well. You do notice that this one has spears on his back.
Okay. I am. What kind of armor is he wearing?
It's
like metal,
kind of a chitin. It looks to be probably some sort of insect hide that they've gotten their hands on, some massive insect hide.
Okay, that means heat metal's not going to be effective against that one. So I'm just going to use heat metal on his great axe.
Okay. So, what is the range on heat metal?
That's 60 feet.
So roughly at the moment, they are roughly about 100 feet behind you guys. Because you guys did get distance. You guys sped up really quick. Yeah.
Wait, so I mean the one on the roof.
Oh, you meant the guy on the roof.
Yeah.
Okay. As a note, and Journey would know this, the actual handle of the blade is not metal. It's just the head.
Okay. Well, what's the shaft made out of?
It's like a wood.
Well, wood burns, baby.
It's true. So you're gonna heat up the head of the axe?
Yeah.
And what is the damage that does?
Well, I'm going to cast it at the 3rd level. So, let's see. That's 2d8s of damage.
Okay. So you watch as the head of this axe turns a bright orange, and he kind of looks at it a little confused, kind of checks around him for a moment, and then turns back to Magnus, as it is Magnus's turn, unless Journey has a bonus action.
That's 8. I rolled an 8.
No, you didn't need to roll damage yet. It was okay. I was asking for references.
Okay, I was just doing it ahead of time, and then I'm going to give Magnus a bardic inspiration, because literally until he fucks up, it stays with him like whenever he fucks up a roll. So it's just like a floating bonus.
What do you say to him? What is your inspiration?
I don't know. Kick his ass.
That works for me.
Or
kick his ass. That's what I'm picturing. Just kick his ass.
Yeah, Icarus didn't authorize them to come aboard. So.
With how long the harnesses wires are to these guys, if I were to kick them off, it would take a second for them to pull themselves back up, right?
If you were to try to kick them off, they would get a chance to try to catch themselves where they would be dangling in a way that, like, they would be able to pull themselves up as a movement. If they failed that, though, then they would fall. You have the same ability. So, like, if someone was to shove you and you failed the shove and, like, they actually succeeded in shoving, you can catch the rope as a dex save to keep yourself from falling. And then if you were to fall, you would have to use an action to pull yourself back up. If that makes sense. There's tiers of disadvantage that come out of this.
Does the better I roll make it harder for them to save?
Possibly.
Okay, I'm gonna go into a rage, and I'm just gonna fucking Sparta kick one of these guys off the side.
It's just the one guy. There's only one guy on the top. The other car now has one on top of it, is what I said.
all
Yeah,
right.
it's not two on top of this one.
All right, yeah, I'm just gonna kick this motherfucker off.
Okay, roll a athletics check, and he's going to try to counter.
$21.
All right, you slam your foot into the chest of this individual as he stumbles back, and he just barely catches himself using the strap, kind of throws a hand out and grabs it, and is kind of pulling a smooth criminal off of the side of this thing. Kind of looking down towards the dirt as he kind of stumbled a little bit before turning himself over to prepare to try to drag himself back up.
Unless that like shove counted as an attack action, I got nothing.
I'm pretty sure it does. Does it count as an attack action?
Is it? Are you using the same rules as a grapple?
Does a grapple count as an attack action?
Yeah.
That's pretty much what I'm thinking. Is in my mind.
Alright,
It's just
then
like,
I'm just gonna fucking stab him with my tail.
okay,
Actually, no, my tail has a blade at the end. Can't I just cut it? Can I just use it to cut his tether?
roll an attack on the tether.
21.
You strike the tether. These things are probably made to be. It doesn't break, but it does sear pretty badly, and it looks to be slowly, cracking more and more. Like bits of it are breaking little by little. And you see a bit of nervousness on his face.
Magnus is just pure face of like couldn't give less of a shit about this guy. Just he almost looks bored looking at this guy fighting for his life.
You do have a bonus action, don't you? Oh, you use that to rage. Never mind.
Yep.
All right, so he is going to attempt to drag himself up, and depending on what his roll is, the cord might break. Holy shit. You watch as he attempts to pull himself up, and he yanks, and you watch as the cord does snap, and as he is falling, he is going to attempt to hit you with his battle axe. Does a math is difficult 23 hit.
Yep.
Okay, so as he falls, you watch as he chucks this battle axe as a final act of retribution, and he is going to do. You take. That's 16. 20 points of slashing damage. And 9 points of burn or fire damage.
All right,
due to
so
the red hot
29.
metal striking you.
Okay.
But you watch as he hits the ground and begins to roll through the sand. And I'm going to see if his crew has the time to not hit him. They do. The driver's really good in this team. You watch as they swerve around this orc, kind of leaving him behind in the dust. You do not know his fate as he rolls into the storm. So you are down a single individual so far. And it's now the rest of their turns as you watch as this vehicle does the same thing that Icarus did and activates its arcane thrust. And it catches up, getting within about 15 feet of you. While this is happening, another orc crawls out onto the roof and is going to throw a spear at you, Magnus, which it doesn't hit because he rolled like shit. So he throws wide, the spear kind of going off into the sand somewhere. and is going to attempt a second one. And he seems to slip on the roof a little bit and drop the spear. Because they're just rolling like shit right now. The other one, however, is going to attempt... No, he's not, because they're 15 feet away. He's not going to, because he's smart enough knowing that he can't jump that far. He is going to also throw 2 of his spears. First one misses. Does a 21 hit?
No.
Okay, he throws the spear as you deflect it away, looking rather irritated by this, and they both are just now standing there atop the roof, ready to go. It is now Trinket's turn, who now has targets that she can shoot at without disadvantage. And I'm just going to roll her dice on D&D and Beyond, because I like doing that with her for some reason. She rolls a 10. She misses. So she fires at one of the orcs, and they simply just kind of deflect the arrow with their axe. And she's going to fire a different one, which is going to hit. And she is going to hit for 11 points of piercing damage. An arrow drives into the kind of the leg of one of these orcs, who lets out a roar of pain due to the piercing of the arrowhead. It is now Andraka's turn.
They don't have any fire, do they?
They do not.
I'll just shoot them then.
All right.
18.
That would hit one of the orcs, yes.
14.
14 points of thunder damage? Is that what it is? Or is it piercing? Piercing. Are you hitting the injured or uninjured?
Injured.
The injured? Okay. I gotta do some math here. Perfection. You strike him, you watch your round kind of go straight through his kind of part of his gut, stripping off a bit of flesh right underneath the ribs. He growls a little bit, stumbles slightly. Do you have a bonus action? Or no?
No.
No? All right. My watch scared me. Again. Incarus, who is noticing that things aren't getting any better, you watch as he, for a moment, takes his hand off the wheel and begins to weave his fingers together before he casts a magic missile at 4th level, which I believe is 6 missiles. He is going to do 18 points of damage to the injured one, who stumbles a little bit on the side of the cart, kind of drops to one knee for a moment before kind of rising back up. Journey, back to you.
I'm going to shoot the injured guy.
All right. Fire
Hopefully
your
to death.
crossbow.
Okay. I'm going to click the button. 5. So I got 11. Miss.
You fire wide. It seems you right as the dune cruiser or the dune racer seems to hit a kind of a uneven patch. You fire, your hand kind of going a little high whenever you fire, and the bolt flies right over their heads. You do have a bonus action.
I'm going to use unsettling words. Are we able to see the driver through like a window or anything?
You do now notice that there is a broken window, and inside you see a orc who has a very large slash in his shoulder.
Okay. I don't know if this is going to even come up, but I'm going to put an unsettling words on him.
What would you like to shout at him?
something like he's like looks like you're leaking.
All right. Let's see here.
Um,
What does unsettling word do again?
Okay, roll the Bardic Inspiration die. The creature must subtract the number rolled from the next saving throw it makes before the start of your next turn. So basically, until my turn comes back up,
So
it has
roll that
to
dice.
subtract 6 if it makes a saving throw.
-6. Okay.
So target him if you can.
All right, Magnus, it is back to you.
So the darkness has dissipated around.
It's about 15 feet behind you guys because Journey
I mean,
kept it.
I think it would have dissipated after I
dissipated?
used heat metal.
Oh yeah, because it's
Because it's
concentration spell. Yeah.
concentration.
So yep. It's gone. It is gone.
All right, then I'm going to. How far away are they?
15 feet-ish?
15 feet?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I can clear that. How many people are on this roof?
There are 2.
Yeah, no, those are both bitches. I'm gonna unhook and with my 16-foot jump, I'm just gonna jump on their roof.
I'm gonna say still roll a athletics check because you are jumping onto a moving vehicle. Not due to the distance, but due to the actual landing on the vehicle.
25.
That's sufficient. You land as if it weren't moving.
Great. I'm gonna use my bonus action to summon my axe.
Okay.
And
I will allow you to clip in as a free action because that's kind of what it's going to be.
oh, cool. Yeah, I'll clip in.
Yeah, it's a part of your movement to clip in is kind of what I'm going with this because you're not doing a lot of movement. So
yeah, I'll definitely clip in, and I'll just whichever one is because they're both probably close. Whichever one is to my left, that's the one I'm just gonna start wailing on.
So injured or uninjured is really what the choice is.
Oh, injured, definitely injured.
Okay,
Yeah,
yep. So
just
you turn to the injured one, who looks
it's not
pissed.
about ending suffering. It's about causing more. It's a 26 to hit.
That hits.
Yep. Let's see here. 13 slashing damage and 16 psychic damage.
Okay. That is. So you strike him across the chest, and his eyes go wide for a moment, and he looks like he wants to roar in pain, but there's a moment that he kind of struggles for a moment to make any noise before kind of recomposing himself without making any kind of noise.
Okay. Next attack's a 21.
That also hits.
All right. It's always sad when the damage roll isn't high. 8 slashing damage and 18 psychic damage.
26. He is not looking good. He is very bloodied. As you strike this man twice, you hear from within the vehicle the orc that is driving shout something for a moment, and it seems you can see it in the eyes of these two that it seems to be a sort of battle cry. And they are going to both try to strike you with their axes. That first one misses. I already know that. That's cocked. Does a 26 hit?
Nope.
No.
Oh yeah, my fucking tail.
What about a 27?
That is exactly the armor class. That's exactly what my armor class was boosted to.
So that's one hit from him that goes through, and he does That's 12 plus. He does 17 points of slashing damage, which is the full damage. So you're raging, so that's halved. The other one, another 27. That's a fail. And that's a critical. So for the first attack that he lands on you, you take. So he strikes you across the chest, and you take 22 points of slashing damage. And then for the critical, which I'm going to need you to roll a wisdom save for me. That is 14, 18, 28 points of slashing damage.
Okay, my wisdom save is a mod 20.
Okay, so you passed that. And that is the end of all of the orcs' turns. It is now Trinket's turn.
It is increasingly more and more a problem that this party lacks a healer.
Yeah, it does.
I don't think you realized that we were in a session. Anyway, Trinket, Journey, you watch as she scurries out onto the roof and is going to position herself on the roof and is going to attempt to shoot her bow at the orcs. The first one misses, and her second shot hits. She is going to aim for the uninjured one. So that's 10 plus 18. So she's going to hit him for 28 points of piercing damage. There we go. And it is now Andraka's turn. What would you like to do, my friend?
I'll just shoot the driver.
All right, roll that attack for me, my guy.
14.
You fire this shot, and it kind of ricochets off the hood, missing the front window. And he kind of glances towards you with a look of disgust and irritation. Is there anything else you can do?
No.
No. Okay. It's back to Incarus, who is going to cast a spell. Just gotta find what spell. He is going to cast... He's just going to cast a firebolt. And he's going to do it twice because he can do that. And he's going to aim for the driver. So that one hits. And that one misses. So he's only going to hit the first shot on the driver. And he's going to hit him for 15 points of fire damage. You hear the driver let out a roar of pain again due to being struck with yet another attack. It is now Journey's turn.
Okay. So I'm going to make an attack on the driver.
Okay.
So
What you gonna do?
Shoot him.
All right. Fire your crossbow bolts.
Only a 13.
That misses. So you
Yeah,
fire.
I almost got like a.
You have a
What?
similar fate to Andraka's shot, where it ricochets off of the kind of the front area of the vehicle, disappearing off into the sand.
Okay, I'm gonna skip my bonus action for now.
Okay, Magnus. It is your turn.
Alright, let's keep hurting them. Actually, hey, Nate, how much can you heal with Healing Word?
A good amount. Wait, I forget. Can I use healing word as a bonus action?
Bonus, yeah, that's a bonus action. So yeah, you could use that.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna use that. It's just a bonus action list, and it's not listed under it. So yeah, how much are you hurting?
I started combat at 82. I am now at 28.
I'm gonna cast healing word at the 3rd level.
All right, roll that
So
HP dice.
it's only gonna heal you for 10, but take it.
That's better than dying in a turn. These guys hit hard, even with rage.
So it's now Magnus's turn.
All right. I'm just gonna keep attacking this one guy.
All right.
Because it's kind of weird that he's not dead.
He's like barely standing.
Yeah. 24.
That's a hit. You're gonna do more damage than he has health, so I don't even need you to roll damage.
You sure? You sure?
He's got
You sure?
he's got 5 HP, bro. You can do more than that easily. Pretty sure your modifier makes it more automatically.
Okay.
I have a pretty good idea of what your characters can do in damage, so yeah, so you strike this guy, you just cleave him in half, and his harness kind of holds on to a bit of him while the other part just kind of falls into the sand behind them and rolls in the dirt. The other one, who looks both disgusted and a bit terrified, kind of looks at you, clenching his battle axe. But you still have your turn.
Yeah, I'm just gonna attack him.
All right. Roll your attack.
$27 to hit.
That hits.
Let's see here. 14 slashing damage and 17 psychic damage.
Okay. You strike him. He's a bit bloodied. He's not super bloodied like the one you just slit in half, but he's a bit bloodied. It is now their turns, and the one who is standing before you is going to attempt 2 strikes. Does a 24 hit?
No.
Okay. And his other one's not going to hit either. So you block both of his attacks as he swings angrily at you. Seeming not to get anywhere with that. And the driver is going to attempt to slam into your guys' vehicle again. And is going to succeed, doing a little bit of damage to your guys' hull. That's 17 points of bludgeoning damage to your hull is done, which is not too much. You guys still have quite a bit of health. And it now goes to Trinket, who is going to fire another arrow. This time she will aim for the driver, though, realizing that the others are doing the same. That is a miss. That is also a miss. So she misses both of her arrows as she fires, looking a little disappointed. She kind of repositions herself to try to take a new shot in her next turn. And Draka. It is now your turn.
I'm going to take another shot.
All right.
15.
That unfortunately misses as well. So you once again, you're firing at the driver, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you once again, it's a little closer. You break more glass. You just miss him. And he's starting to get increasingly worried because he's hearing less and less people on top of the ride. It's back to Incarus, who is going to cast. So difficult to go with spells on the go. He's going to try to cast. He's just going to do Firebolt again at the driver. That's a hit. That is also a hit. So he's going to hit both fireballs, doing a grand total of 38 damage. Scorching the driver quite heavily in this hit. And the vehicle begins to swerve a bit and is starting to slowly decrease in speed. Journey, it's your turn.
Okay. Would I be firing with advantage if I was just trying to hit the vehicle in general?
You would roll you'd roll a regular attack to see if it actually penetrates the armor.
Okay. It's not a matter of penetration. I'm trying to use a spell.
It's not a matter of hitting it. It's a matter of actually damaging it.
Yeah, I'm trying to use Dispel Magic.
It's like trying to
Which
shoot.
is-
It's like shooting at the moon. Like you may be hitting it, but it may not be doing anything.
Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to cast the spell, which is just
Right.
on contact and not matter of penetrating armor.
Okay.
So would I be firing with advantage, just trying to hit the object that we've already just been pinging arrows off of?
What arrow you? What spell are you?
I'm just trying. Dispel Magic.
Dispel Magic. Are you? What part of the car are you focusing on specifically?
The front bit. The front bit.
Where the motor is?
Yeah.
All right. Roll a d20 and add your spellcasting modifier.
Okay. I'm going to roll a d20. And then my modifier is +5. There's a nat 1, of course.
You send this spell out at it, and it doesn't feel that it gets hold like you want it to. Kind of sputters out.
Oh well. And I'm going to cast a first level healing word at Magnus as my bonus action.
Okay.
So that's going to heal you for 9 points.
9 points. All right.
All right. It is now your turn, Magnus.
All right.
You can feel the vehicle getting unsteady and beginning to slow a little bit.
Oh, then I'm gonna cut this guy's wire.
Okay, roll an attack on the wire.
And I'll make that attack reckless for 19.
Okay, you cut a bit through it again, just like the other one. It doesn't quite break, but it is frayed heavily.
All right. Yeah, I'll still be able to jump over. Actually, have we drifted further away from the Cobra, whatever?
It's roughly the same distance. They slammed into each other, and then it kind of.
Okay,
level out again.
I'm just gonna try to slam this guy off real quick.
Okay, roll a strength athletics check, and he will attempt to counter. That was cocked. That was also cocked. How am I making this dice do the thing it's doing? Right.
22.
You just beat him by 1 point. You knock him over the side, and he is going to roll a dex save to see if he can catch himself. He is unable to catch himself and is dangling from the side of this vehicle
Right.
in a bit of a panic. He's kind of swinging his arms around.
Then I'm gonna jump back over to our thing.
Athletics check. The DC is not high because you're not jumping onto anyone. It's just onto the platform again.
26.
You flawlessly, and you hook back in.
Yep.
All right. On that note, it is the orc's turn. The one orc is going to attempt to pull himself up. That's cocked. He manages, even though, so you watch as he is dragging himself up and the cord snaps, but he catches himself on the edge and slowly slides his way onto the roof, panting heavily before sliding himself into the cockpit. The other is going to attempt another ram against your vehicle and is actually going to miss as Incarus, who has been getting tired of the orc slamming into his vehicle, manages to kind of turn a little bit and avoid the strike. And it is now Trinket's turn, who is going to attempt a shot on the driver once again. She rolls a 12 on the first attack and a nat 1 on the second. She misses both of hers as well. The first arrow striking across the hood again, the second not even hitting the vehicle. And she kind of looks really disappointed in herself and is going to then slide into the cockpit again of this vehicle. It's Andraka's turn. I believe in you, son.
Okay, how close is the car?
Roughly like between 10 and 15 feet.
Okay, yeah. I'm gonna throw an ice knife at the driver.
Roll that attack.
I give up.
What'd you roll?
I got a nat 1. I give up.
So the trick with ice knife is even when you don't hit your target, if it still goes near, I'm going to let the nat 1 slide. And he is going to have to roll a dex save against your the radius of the knife hitting the hood and producing this frosty air around it. What is your saving DC?
The 15.
15. He does end up saving from it as he kind of ducks out of the way as the cold air kind of pushes past him. I'm sorry. I know you really want to hit something. I'm really sorry. It's back to Incarus, who is just going to then again throw more fireballs. Which the first hits, second does not, but I don't think it's going to matter. Yeah. You watch as Incarus chucks one more fireball out the window, and it strikes the driver in the face, and he bursts into flames, screaming in agony as the vehicle swerves to the left, and the other orc tries to save it, and it kind of, for a moment, tips over onto one side and then starts to roll in the sand and quickly disappear behind you guys. So you have a minute that you are alone. You still hear other vehicles around you speeding around. You hear other shouts going on. Incarus glances back as he's driving and kind of calls out, "Everyone doing okay?"
Fine.
We got any healing potions? I think Magnus could use one.
He nods and he kind of shuffles around for a moment, and he does pull out a small vial and pass it back, and
Yeah, I'll
just
hand it up
says,
to
"Tell him to
Magnus
drink
out
this."
for the cabinet. So yeah, I'll stick my hand out with the potion up to Magnus out from the cabin.
Yeah, I'll take it. It's what, normal?
I'm rolling your health right now.
Oh.
9. You'd get 30 points of health back.
All right. Right on.
And whatever liquid he passed up to you, it was not a normal reddish silvery that they mostly are. This one was more of a like viscous, like greenish gray. But it seemed to do the job. So you probably assume it's some custom brew that he has himself.
Hey, Chris, how far back are we in the pack?
It's hard to say in the storm at the moment. We're definitely not too far based on the sounds around us. Um, roll a perception check. Anyone who wants to. Just kind of like keeping out.
I'll roll one.
I roll d6.
13.
13. As he kind of says this, you hear the sound of guitar coming through the sand before this very blocky vehicle comes flying out from the storm and is going to attempt to ram into you lot from behind, which it actually does not succeed, as Icarus kind of swerves out of the way a little bit and then manages to get back ahead of it. Behind all of you is that knoll that you had seen rocking out before the race started. I'm going to roll their initiative. Awesome. The real fun begins. And as you guys kind of look back towards this vehicle that is behind you, you can see the one knoll that is on the roof strapped up with its guitar, rocking out. There are two more kind of hanging off the sides a little bit, both carrying large axes as well. And the driver looks to be a very much smaller Lupin individual who is wearing a pair of goggles and a on his face and a like leather jacket, and it's very
The
focused
Knolls.
on all of you.
Based off a cursory inspection of their vehicle before the race, I think we have to hit the guitarist up top. I think it's being powered by whatever they're playing. There's diodes off the side of the vehicle that are sparking whenever she plays.
Icarus kind of glances back and says, "Well, it's worth a shot." And he is going to go first, which he is going to activate one of the vehicle's abilities, which is called Acid Mine. And you watch as he pulls a small lever, and Magnus, you would have a good view of this. A small hatch in the back opens up, and a small circular metallic or spherical metallic ball that seems to have a few glass hatches in it that seem to be filled with a dark purple liquid rolls out of the back of the vehicle. And as it gets near the vehicle of the Knolls, they're going to make a dex save against it, which they fail. And you watch as this orb slams into the front of their vehicle and it splatters acid up the front of the vehicle. And I am going to roll on D&D and Beyond because I do not feel like rolling the damage for this with my actual dice because it's a lot of dice. And the stream gets to hear all of the dice rolling and shaking on my screen. It does 54 points of acid damage as it strikes the front of this vehicle, and you watch the metal on the front kind of tarnish a bit and burn quite a bit underneath this acidic substance that he had produced.
So the driver is clearly visible, right?
The driver is visible. He is behind a sheet of glass.
How far back is he?
They are roughly probably 25 feet behind you guys. So from your perspective, if you were to peek out of the hatch, you could fire at him pretty easily. What was that? You still there, bud?
What's happening?
I think he might be having internet problems.
Oh, who died?
Nate might be having internet problems. You good,
Damn.
bro? Check your ping. Might need to reset your ping. Thanks for this visual representation of the race, guys. It's much appreciated. Oh God.
You can't hear me?
We can hear you now.
Okay. No, I think my Discord's being fucky on my laptop, so I want to cast Dissonant Whispers.
Okay.
At the first level at the Lupin, which is a Wisdom 16 save.
I want to make sure that. So I'm going to tell you this because I don't want you to just waste a spell slot. You have a feeling he probably can't hear you behind the glass because of the whipping winds and the glass between him and the winds. It would be really hard for him to understand you.
It's a matter of like,
and well, it would be like you've been in a car during like a windstorm, right?
Yeah.
It'd be really hard to hear anything outside the car.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really like it's something only they specifically can hear. It's not like a general broadcasted spell.
Your choice within range can hear. They have to be able to hear it normally. That's the thing with that spell is they would have to. They don't have to necessarily understand you. They just have to be able to hear you due to the conditions.
No, I mean, no, you whisper a disparate melody at only one creature of your choice within range can hear.
Am I misreading this? Is that how this is going? Oh, I guess. Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah. Oh, I'm thinking of the other spells that are like that. That they have to be able to hear you. Yes. Okay. So it's a wisdom save, which he would have a much greater wisdom than his compatriots, but not by much. What is the roll that he has to succeed in? What is the roll that he has to succeed in?
Uh-oh, check your ping.
Is your Discord falling apart?
It really
Hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you again.
16.
All right, roll your damage for it.
Okay, it hits. Let's roll this thing then. Okay. Wait. Okay, yeah, I'm accidentally. Okay, so that's going to be 11, and because my internet's really shitty, it keeps on. Let's see. But I think he has to flee as far as he possibly can within the turn.
It would be on his turn. He would do it.
Yeah, so when it hits his turn, he's going to have to move away from our vehicle as far as his movement allows.
All right, which you said how much damage he took?
Shoot. Let me pull up this everything on my iPad because I think my Wi-Fi just died a horrible death.
That's what it seemed like because you just like suddenly cut out and we were just like, is he dead? I can roll it for you now if you want me to because I do have access to your sheet.
I think I rolled it on. I would have rolled it on my sheet. It should be in the history.
It
D&D
wasn't
Beyond.
there. I just rolled one, but it didn't roll for you when you did it. I think your internet just didn't reach.
Might be for bed.
Which I just rolled it, and you did 4 points of damage.
Okay.
Which is not a super lot, but it is damage nonetheless. And it is now the Knoll's turn. The one on top of the vehicle is going to very excitedly begin to strum her guitar faster before striking it across the strings and is going to fire a lightning bolt towards Magnus, and she is also going to try to hit you, Journey, as you peek out as well. So, Magnus, she hits you with a critical, and she hits Journey with does a 21 hit Journey.
It hits.
All right, and I will roll the damage separately for each of you.
I think my internet's stabilized for now.
For Magnus, you take 9, 10, 11, 14 points of lightning damage, as I rolled mostly ones on that. And for Journey, you take... 11 points of lightning damage as these bolts of electricity strike each of you. And then she is going to fire one at the back of the vehicle, try to hit one of the wheels of your vehicle, which she barely misses, striking the sand just next to it with this bolt. She doesn't seem too upset, though, about it. She keeps rocking out. The other gnolls, the two others, are each going to attempt to throw a spear at you guys. The first one, they're going to try to strike a wheel, which he does succeed, and is going to do 1 point of damage, or 4 points of damage to the wheel, which is not a whole lot. Wheels actually have separate health from the body of the vehicle, believe it or not. So one of your wheels is partially damaged now, with 94 health left. All right. The other gnoll is going to attempt to strike Magnus and is going to miss. And the driver is going to is going to use the arcane thrust and quickly make his way past you guys, getting about roughly 100 feet ahead of your guys' vehicle. As the driver is, for a moment, you notice a bit of a panic for some strange reason. It is now Magnus's turn, which we're at a massive distance, so there's not really much you can do. What would you like to do, Magnus? The enemies are 100 feet ahead of you guys.
Once it dissipates, they're sure to come back. It might be a good boarding opportunity.
I'm just gonna hold a reaction.
Okay.
Actually, I'm gonna do the dodge action and that's it.
Okay. You're going to prepare the dodge action. Trinket, who is chilling, is going to attempt with disadvantage to fire a shot at the gnoll that is in the back. And she is actually going to hit on her first attack. Which is, she's going to hit her for 8 points of damage. You hear for a half a second, one of the notes come out wrong as she's struck in the back with an arrow and glances back towards Trinket, who fires a second arrow, which also hits. Wow, Trinket is all of a sudden rolling really good.
We just had to put the targets in front of her instead of behind her.
Yeah, that was the whole thing. That was her problem. And she strikes her with another arrow, which strikes her just below the ass, like in the back of the leg. And the gnoll stops playing for a second, reaches down and rips the arrow out, chucks it to the side, and then continues to play, and seems to be playing more intensely than before. And Draka, it is now your turn.
I guess I'll try shooting her.
Jared is just tired of this.
22.
That's a hit. Roll damage,
He's just progressively
Jared.
becoming Eeyore.
18 damage.
That's pretty good damage, bro. You strike her kind of the lower back, kind of off to the side a little bit. And you watch the round make a clear hole through her. And she shifts a little bit. The straps that are holding her in place don't really allow her to move too much. But she stops playing for another 2 or 3 seconds before continuing, seeming to get angrier and angrier with each time this happens. It is now Incarus's turn, who is going to catch up to them. And as he does, you watch as the front of the vehicle, once you guys are within probably roughly 50 feet of them, proceeds to spray out a 100-foot long line of acid that sprays out of the front of the vehicle.
Now I get the name of this vehicle.
There's a reason it's called the same Cobra. There's a reason there's themes. The vehicle ahead of you proceeds to fail the check against this attack. And I'm going to roll for each of the gnolls. That's a fail. That's a success. And she failed as well. And it is going to do a hell of a lot of burn damage. Or acid damage. Approximately 8d10 burn damage, because this is a vehicle that is made to burn everything in its path. Oh my lord, that's a spicy amount of damage. You watch as both of the gnolls on the side, both the gnolls on the side just get coated in acid, and they start howling in pain as they try to get it off of themselves, and with little success. You watch her as well just get hit with a spray of acid. She's not looking too hot right now. She's actually looking very injured at the moment. And the vehicle itself seems to be further corroding due to the acid that has been coated over it. It's still looking decently intact, but it is not doing the greatest. It is now Journey's turn. You guys are within 50 feet now.
Okay. 50 feet. That means I am going to... I'm probably just going to shoot him again. I'm going to shoot the guitarist.
Okay. Roll an attack roll against her.
Actually, question. What's the axe made out of?
The axe itself, it is a metallic weapon.
I'm gonna burn her even more. She's
The axe head it's the same as the other one. The axe head is metallic. The rest of it seems to, you're not sure because it's wrapped in leather mostly for the grip.
Yeah.
You don't know if it would actually burn her all the way or if it's just the bottom that is.
But she is making contact with the axe head, right?
Technically, at times she is, yes.
Okay. I'm going to use that because it's seemingly the power source. So if she can't strum, it can't go. That's my logic. So I'm going to cast Heat Metal at the second level. That has a range of 60 feet, and you said we're at 50 feet around?
Yeah, it's 50 feet ahead of you.
Okay. I cast it.
You watch as her axe head glows brightly, and a couple of the strings actually snap due to the heat. And she roars in anger and slams the axe down onto the top of the vehicle, actually putting a decent sized hole in the hull due to her rage. And is going to just turn in your direction angrily. You see, and as she turns in your direction, you see sparks coming off of her fur. She looks towards you in rage.
I'm just going to give her a flirtatious wave out the window. And it's my turn.
All right, it is now the Knoll's turn. Who... you notice they actually lessen their speed. And they get within... about 15, 20-ish feet. And you notice the little coils on the side of the car begin to spark again. And are going to launch a chain lightning towards you. Which is going to... The first person it's going for actually is Incarus, which it does hit him as he is electrocuted.
What kind of wizard doesn't have counter spell?
It's not a spell. He
It's
does
just
have counterspell, but it
discharge.
is not a spell. This is not... It's in the form of chain lightning, but it is a mechanical chain lightning. So technically you cannot counterspell it because it is not magic. Which he takes. He's going to take 30 points of lightning damage. And it is going to arc and try to hit Trinket. It is going to hit her as well. And I'm just gonna no. It's going to hit her for not that much. 25 points of lightning damage. Journey, what is your armor class?
14.
It is going to hit you as well for 22 points of lightning damage.
Ooh, I'm down.
What's your armor class there, Andraka?
17.
Surprisingly enough, you managed to catch it with your rifle, which takes the blunt of the electricity. Being a lightning cannon or thunder cannon, it just kind of takes it. And what about you, Magnus? What is your current armor class?
When the last fight ended, had it been a minute?
Yes. Probably about
19.
that. 19.
Then 19, yeah.
It does hit you, and it hits you for 15 points of lightning damage.
Yeah, all right.
And it is now your turn, Magnus.
Should I roll a death save or whatever?
Actually, it's not your turn yet. Actually, scratch that. The lightning knoll that you had seen, you watch as she tears out of her bonds, and she is actually going to make a leap towards the vehicle to try to fight Magnus. Oh, dear God. She doesn't make it. You see this majestic leap, and she hits the side of the vehicle and just kind of bounces off. And I'm going to see if she goes under the wheels. She goes under the wheels. You feel a thud. Immediately after she disappears, just a... And you look behind you, and there is a somewhat mutilated body of this knoll rolling in the dirt. The others howl in, I guess, mourning would be the term, as their compatriot is now dead. It is now Magnus's turn.
Oh, fucking ready a dodge action. I don't fucking know.
All right. Oh, wait, if you had the dodge action. Oh, it still would have hit you. Never mind. Anyways. So, yeah, you ready a dodge action. Trinket is going to rush over to Journey and is actually going to pull out a small vial of a healing potion. Is going to heal you for, that's 7, 10, 15 points of healing.
Nice.
As she kind of dumps this down your throat and then just chucks the vial off to the side.
My hero.
And then after she does that, she is then going to turn with her bow and is going to attempt to shoot at the driver once again. That's wrong. I rolled damage, not the attack. Which hits. She does hit the driver, so the 10 points of damage stands. So she strikes the driver for 10 points of damage as the arrow breaks through the glass and strikes the driver in the shoulder. And you hear,
what, 14 damage now?
in total, about 14 points of damage has been done to him. You hear a howl of pain mixed with right after the shattering of glass. And it is now Andraka's turn again.
So I can see him?
You can see him. And his...
Okay, he needs to make a con save.
Oh no. Oh no. That's not a good thing for me to hear. What's your...
14 DC.
Okay, he fails.
All right, I'm gonna teleport him in front of their car
Oh,
using vortex warp.
oh fuck. He's gonna make a speed check, a dex save that is really high DC, which he fails. So you all watch as the Lupin, who has been driving this vehicle very aggressively, vanishes and then reappears about a half a second later, roughly 10 feet in front of the vehicle. Is he on the ground or in the air?
Ground.
And I need to roll. Let's see, what is the trample damage here? An ungodly amount. Give me a moment. Let us roll. And I'm just gonna tell you guys what it is. It's 10d10 as if you get hit by a car. So we're gonna roll all these dice on D&D and Beyond. Oh yeah, it's like a Final Destination scene. He's there. There's a red mist. He's gone. And the vehicle, immediately after striking him, just begins to curve to one side and just start drifting off. And the gnolls look to one another, kind of confused and shocked, and start fumbling to try to get inside. And they disappear into the sandstorm behind you.
That was awesome.
I'm just really disappointed that the character that I spent time building up failed her jump. Just had the most unfortunate death. But this situation has gone much differently than it went in my brain, so it's only expected that these things happen. So, on that note, you all are in a quiet state again. You don't hear as many engines as before, and you actually drive past one or two recently destroyed cars that seem to have still been in the motion of rolling as you are driving. And Icarus, who is kind of slunched over a little bit, looking a little burnt, kind of sighs a little bit and says, we should be getting close. God, that hurt. He's kind of clenching his chest a bit.
I'm gonna cast Healing Word at the first level on him.
Okay. You roll your health for that.
That heals 9.
9 points of damage. He kind of glances back and just says, much appreciated. Should be enough to get us to the end. And as you guys continue on, I'm not going to require a perception check for this one because you will be coming up on the scene. You see what looks to be 2 separate cars ahead of you that seem to be fighting. The one that is shaped similar to that of a dragon's head, with the fangs and the teeth in the front, and the smaller, more aerodynamic one that seems to have portholes that a group of mages seem to be throwing various firebolts through at the other vehicle, while the other vehicle seems to be throwing arrows and spears in return. You guys are roughly about 100 feet behind them coming up. And I'm going to roll their initiatives to figure out where they get to go in the order. Alright, I love that all of these initiatives have been completely different, so my paper has been really neat. It's wonderful. Okay, so Icarus is first again, so he is going to activate the Arcane Thrust to get you guys caught up to them. So he's going to move off to the side, and he's going to come up beside the more draconic vehicle on its right side. It is then Journey's turn immediately.
So how far away are we? Would you say again?
You're about 10 feet next to the Draconic vehicle. And the other one, the more aerodynamic one with the mages in it, is about 20 feet from you. No, it'd be 25 feet from you.
Okay. So I'm gonna use silent image
Okay.
to place like a massive seeming roadblock in front of the Draconic car, so they'll have to like swerve and hit the mage vehicle
Alright,
if they have any hopes of kind of avoiding it.
So you produce this wall, and they don't seem to register it immediately. And by the time they do register it, they kind of pass through it. And they do end up swerving, and we're going to do a coin toss here to see who they swerve into. If I can get a dice not to cock, that would be really cool. They swerve into you.
Yay.
And Icarus is going to make a dex save to see if he can avoid them, which he does not. And your vehicle ends up taking a bit more damage, which it's not going to be much, but going to take another bit of damage to the hull, which is 31 points of damage to the hull. Dents are getting a little bigger, but they're not too terrible yet. And now that I have all of these characters all in one place, I need to write down a bunch of health pools that I need to keep track of. Nope. That's not right. 65. Okay. So, on that note, it is the other vehicle's turn.
I'm just gonna use my bonus action quickly to cast Healing Words at the 3rd level on myself.
Okay. And you can add the images that was okay.
Okay, so I heal myself with 15, so I'm just 1 health point below my max.
You watch as the 3 mages each go to cast their own separate spells. The driver goes to attempt to fire a magic missile towards Icarus, who turns around and casts the spell Shield to deflect or to negate the damages of magic missile. The next one is going to try to throw a firebolt at one of the Dragonborns, and is going to miss his attack. Another is going to try to hit the Dragonborn's vehicle with a fireball, which the Dragonborns avoid with amazing speed. And the last individual is going to attempt to cast another firebolt, and he's going to try to hit Magnus. Pretty sure that's a miss. Yeah, that's a miss. So he misses you as the firebolt goes wide. Magnus, it is now your turn. You guys are within 10 feet of the Draconic vehicle, where there are roughly 3 kobolds on the roof and one of the Dragonborns.
Fucking kobolds.
There are 3 kobolds, and this was the vehicle you guys saw earlier with 6 kobolds and 2 Dragonborns on it.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, like, when you say kobolds, I'm wondering if maybe they're like normal ass kobolds and not homebrewed stats.
You won't know until you find out.
How close are they again?
You could jump to it. It's 10 feet.
10 feet. Oh, I'm gonna go into a rage, and I'm not gonna jump it, but now I have a weapon that reaches 10 feet.
Yeah, the gap between the vehicles is 10 feet. So like you would probably be able to reach like one or two of them maybe.
All right, yeah, that's fine. $25 to hit.
That hits. Roll damage.
10 piercing damage.
All right, so you strike one of them with your tail, kind of piercing through its shoulder a little bit, and he lets out a small shriek of pain as it stumbles away.
Mm-hmm.
You can roll a second attack because you technically can still reach him. He's not too. He doesn't get too far. You kind of can make your second attack.
Mod 20.
That does hit.
Uh, 10 piercing damage again.
He is nearly dead, based on what you can tell. He is very bloodied. You stab him in both shoulders, and he is bleeding heavily. Crying out as the other ones are scurrying around. One of them quickly moves to his side to check the wounds. And it is now Trinket's turn, who is going to cast a magic missile at first level at the kobolds, aiming 2 of the darts to the one that you attacked and one of them to a different one. The one that you attacked is barely conscious, and another one is not happy because it was struck with a magical beam of light, or bullet of light.
Reasonable.
And then she is going to also fire one of her bow and arrow at the one that she hit with the one dart on its own. That's the damage again. Let's roll the attack, which does hit. So she hits for 9 damage. That's pretty good. It is now Andraka's turn. What would you like to do, Andraka?
So we're right next to the kobolds.
Yes, kobolds and dragonborns.
They don't have any fire, do they?
Not out on them at the moment.
Not anywhere on the car.
Not that you can see.
Then I will just throw another ice knife.
Who are you aiming for?
Whichever one is in the middle of some.
So that would be the dragonborn, which you would still hit with that 25. So roll the damage for the 25. What is
9.
9 points of damage.
That's 9 piercing. And then everyone within 5 feet makes a dex save.
Which is a lot of dex saves, so that's a fail, that's a fail, that's a fail, that's a pass, that's a fail, that's a fail. So what's the damage, Chief?
4 cold.
A whopping 4 cold points of damage. That's pretty good. You kill the one that was barely conscious. You just see his body kind of freeze over. The one that was injured gets a very nice layer of ice put on it. The other dragonborn that is also on the roof does save, so he does avoid it. And the one kobold who hasn't been injured yet gets a little frosty as the ice kind of forms on his scales, and he kind of groans and mumbles in pain as he kind of tries to knock the ice off. It's now the dragon's turn. You watch as they actually decrease in speed for a moment, getting roughly into a position where they are somewhat behind both sides. And you watch as the maw of this vehicle opens up and produces a 100-foot cone of fire. And I'm going to make a check for him, who I think is quite speedy, so he does. So you guys manage. Incris manages to turn you guys in a way that you avoid the attack. I will need everyone to roll dex saves though, real quick.
Okay. Would my fire resistance figure into that at all?
There's a lot of different things that are figuring into this right now.
Okay. 20.
20, that's a pass.
17.
That's a fail.
Fuck. 13.
13. That's a fail. So, let me roll this real quick. It is... I'm rolling the wrong dice. Let me try this again. That's also the wrong dice. Let me try this again. So you guys will take... So it would have been... So anyone who failed is going to take 19 points of fire damage. Anyone who succeeded is going to take 9 points of fire damage. And then Journey, because you succeeded, you would only take 4 points of fire damage.
Nice.
There was a lot of cutting in half here of like damages.
So you said 4?
Yes.
Okay.
And Incris, who's actually resistant to fire, is also only going to take 4. The other group, let's see how they do. The wizards do not succeed against it. Each of them are going to have to make a save. That's a fail. That's a fail. That's a fail. That's a success. What were you gonna ask?
I'm just asking. I have Hellish Rebuke. Would that even like affect vehicles?
It wouldn't affect a spell like that. I guess it would, but it wouldn't do much to vehicles.
It's also a dragon car, so I doubt it would do much.
Yeah.
It's probably made to stand up to higher temperatures than other vehicles.
And the mages are all going to take, because all of them failed pretty hard, I might add. They're all going to take... Listen to this dice roll. Just beautiful sound. Huh. Okay. The mage car swerves a little bit. A lot of its exterior a red hot. And when it kind of comes into your view again after the flames have dissipated, you don't really see anyone except for the driver who's patting off a bunch of flames off his robe. Everyone else has kind of disappeared from sight. It is now Incris's turn, who, in turn of everything that has just happened, is going to cast... you know what? He's going to bring out his Hail Mary. He's going to cast Sunburst at the 8th level. Because he's not enjoying how much damage he's taking. And he's actually going to end up hitting both vehicles with it, inflicting 38 points of damage. Oh, well, they gotta do a con save. That's a fail. That's a fail. You watch as the mage's vehicle explodes into a ball of fire and just goes rolling into the sand. The more draconic vehicle, on the other hand, due to their resistances and other quite natures... okay. 2 of the kobolds disappear from the blast. The one of the dragonborns is looking rough, due to him not being a fire-resistant dragonborn. and the other seems to just kind of tank the hit and just kind of accept the small bit of damage that he seems to take. It is now their it's not their turn anymore, so it is now Journey's turn.
So is there only like the one Dragonborn left?
There are 2 Dragonborns, and you don't see any kobolds. You assume there are more in the vehicle, though.
Okay,
Because
do
you
I
did
have
see
eyes
6
on the
originally.
driver?
You cannot see into the vehicle. The glass seems to
Okay.
be set up a certain way that it's a tinted kind of interior.
Question: how far can a Dragonborn move in a turn?
It depends on the Dragonborn.
How about this one, for
60 is
instance?
60 is the base.
Okay, and how big is their vehicle?
Roughly 10 feet. If you're
Okay.
saying you want him to run off, um, there is a degree of things with that spell that wouldn't. You're not going to jump to your death if you're fearful of something like that.
Yeah. And the creature doesn't move into obviously dangerous ground, such as a fire or a pit.
Obviously,
Sand isn't
dangerous
quite.
ground is a 200. You're going 200 feet per turn. You know that jumping is going to hurt a lot and probably will kill you.
He doesn't have to jump. He just has to not be looking where he's going. I'm just kidding. I'm gonna shoot him.
Okay.
Actually, he's not fire resistant. Is he wearing shoes?
Dragonborns don't normally wear shoes. They have clawed
Okay.
feet.
I'm going to burn the metal beneath him. 2nd level heat metal.
What is the save for that? Because he would have to have save.
Saves? You think we're working with saves here?
Yes.
We're not.
Well, I'm saying we are.
Oh. Yeah, there is no save on
Is there not a
this
save for heat
spell.
metal?
No.
I thought there was.
No.
I thought in a part of it it says something about a saving throw. Heat metal, heat metal, heat metal. They must make a Constitution saving throw or
Oh yeah.
drop the object. All right, I'll just
And
go with your.
that's just if the creature is holding or wearing the object.
I'm gonna say he has to roll a dex save against your thing. What is your spellcasting modifier?
It's just +5.
All right, what is the DC? I mean, sorry, that's not the one. DC.
My DC, my dexterity.
No, your
Wait,
spell
I'm sorry.
DC.
Oh, my spell DC at 16. Sorry.
No, you're good. 16. He just passes, so he manages to kind of jump around, kind of tiptoe feet, just like ooh, hot, hot, kind of thing. And does avoid the damage. It's now Magnus's turn.
I don't think it avoids the damage. It just avoids attack like disadvantages on. I don't know. At least that's how it reads normally.
It's a special case because you're not burning something that's on them. You're burning something under them.
Okay.
So it's heated. If they step there, it's gonna burn. It's just they managed to kind of move away from it as it was heating up.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna maintain that for up to 1 minute. So.
Okay, it is Magnus's turn.
So
They moved back to a point. They're probably roughly almost. It's somewhere between 15 and 20 feet from you guys at a diagonal angle. They're kind of in the blind spot of Incarus.
Alright, so who's on the roof again?
2 Dragonborns are the only 2 that are up there now. The
Dragonborns
kobolds have all disappeared.
Ah.
Probably incinerated or burnt and knocked off by the sunburst.
Alright. I'm gonna hold a reaction to just try to fucking push one of them off if they try to come over to onto the top of this vehicle.
Okay. All right, the Dragonborn, or not the Dragonborns, it is Trinket's turn. Who is going to attempt to. She's actually not going to attempt that. She is currently trying to tend to her wounds, as she is not doing too well, as it seems to be the trend. And she is going to pull out a small healing vial that she had for herself as well, learning from her mistakes in the past. She's going to heal herself for 14 points of damage. She downs the potion quickly and is just going to sit there. It is now Andraka's turn.
That was the most awkward burp.
That was. It's mid-speech. Andraka, it is your turn.
I'm gonna shoot at the glass of the draconic car.
Roll an attack.
15.
Good enough for me. Roll damage.
11.
You just went over the damage that I required to break the glass. You shatter the glass of the front. This darkened, almost what looked almost like an obsidian-colored glass, and you can see on the interior 3 kobolds who kind of throw their hands up in front of them and kind of cry out in pain as they are blinded by the light a little bit. The vehicle swerving a bit as this happens. They do manage to steady though. Whenever they do this, it is now back to the dragon's turn. As I'm just going to call the vehicle the dragon. Did they recharge the breath attack? They did not. I rolled shit for that. They're going to attempt to ram into the back of your guys' vehicle, which does work. And because of the maw tooth, it is also going to grapple onto the back of your vehicle as they do this, and it is going to do a bit of damage to the hull. It's going to do 42 points of damage to your guys' hull. Your hull's looking a little beaten up, but it's not anything close to being like critically damaged yet. Oh, it made the health a pretty number though. That's nice.
Well, now we know
like
which health we have.
It was like a nice rounded number, like a interval of 10. It was very nice. I'm very happy. Anyway, so it grapples onto the back. The first Dragonborn, the one who was resistant to fire, is going to draw a longsword. Is going to lunge at you, Magnus. Just kind of jump from their vehicle to yours because it's not really a gap; it's more of a walk now. If you would like,
still push him. Yeah, is it still going to proc my reaction?
Yeah, you can try to push him back onto his vehicle.
Oh.
What did you roll?
I mean, I'm more awing of the fact that like I can't push him just off completely. I rolled a nat 20.
So you shove him backwards as he kind of stumbles back onto his vehicle, kind of drops to one knee for a second, and he is going to kind of weave the sword through one of the clips on the top of this vehicle and pull a large crossbow off his back and is going to just try to shoot at you that way. Because clearly getting close is not going to work, so he's going to try to shoot you with the crossbow. Does a 21 hit?
I have to wait. Yeah, I have to check if I'm still raging, and then I can tell you that.
It was like a minute. Yeah, so you would have dropped your rage between encounters, I think. Or did you start? You did start raging with this one. Never mind. You are raging.
Yeah, that's what I had to.
Yeah, Magnus has to remember if he's feeling angry today.
That's what I had to check.
You took damage too, so like yeah, you're still raging.
27. So no, I had to.
Okay.
Count.
All right. And he's just going to grumble irritably while the other one is going to he is going to kind of almost glide forward towards you. His feet don't seem to, like, he seems to almost lift off the ground and kind of hover for a moment. And he is going to kind of fling a hand to one side, and you see this purplish blade appear in the air just beyond his hand, and he is going to attempt to strike you.
So
with
he's
the blade.
coming over?
He's hovering towards you, yes. And he is going
So
to.
that means he would be pushed further away because there's no friction.
But you only got the one reaction at the time. And he rolls a critical, which can't be blocked. And you are going to take. That is 10 points of piercing damage. And you're going to take 8 points of psychic damage. And he is going to attempt a second attack on you. Does a... You said 27?
Yep.
He just misses with that one. And the last one, he is going to hit you again. That's 8 points of piercing damage. And 5, 7.
You can stop now. I'm already dead.
Oh, you're down? Okay, so you went down. So Magnus goes down as he strikes. You all watch as he's struck with this psychic blade of some sort. Both the Dragonborns kind of look to each other and grinning to one another as at the sight of this. It is now Incarus's turn, who is going to cast. You watch, Journey. You watch as Incarus hits something onto the dash, and you watch as the wheel locks up, and he quickly makes his way up out of the hatch, and is going to grab a hold of Magnus, and is going to cast Misty Step to get Magnus into the hole before settling back in the seat and taking the wheel again. And on that note, it is now Journey's turn, as Magnus is now laying within the hole of the interior of this vehicle.
Is that, if I look out the window, can I see the T-posing floating Dragonborn?
Yes, you can see the T-posing floating Dragonborn. He's a bit bloodied.
Spell magic.
The spell magic.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit him with a dispel magic bolt.
Roll an attack with your bolt, and then roll the damage for the bolt if you hit. So roll the attack for the bolt, and we'll see if you hit.
So should I just roll a normal crossbow?
Yeah, you roll normal crossbow, and then if it hits, we'll see how that goes.
Okay. I hit it. Okay, 13.
That is a
Almost got
miss,
one.
as you watch the bolt almost seem to get kind of pushed to the side by some sort of unseen barrier around him.
Okay, now I'm going to cast Healing Words at the 4th level on Magnus.
All right, roll that health.
Um, 13.
You get 13 points of health back, Magnus. And it's your turn.
All right.
I think that's pretty poggers.
Well, Magnus is pretty big. Would he be able to reach someone from through the hatch?
You could, with the tail, probably hit the Dragonborn that
Would he
attacked you with the
grab
psychic blade.
them?
You trying to grab them with your hands? I don't know if you would have to crawl out a little bit to get to him. It would be like your movement to do it. It's not much. You could get to him, is what I'm saying. You could get out there and grab him.
Look, I am going into a rage, but I'm not gonna have my tail. I'm gonna crawl out as far as I need to, and I'm gonna grapple him.
Okay. Roll a athletics check, and he will do the same against you.
That's 22.
I'm reading something real quick about this stat block.
And he just won't stay down.
Okay. You go to grab at this dragonborn, and there's a moment you do get a grip on him, and he kind of looks down at you, and you feel for a slight moment your grip loosen, and he kind of slipped back just a bit. And he used a legendary resistance to get away. It was his only legendary resistance, but he got away.
I'm gonna do that again.
You're gonna do it again. All right, let's roll. Let's roll a second time.
Fucking do it again.
I'll fucking do it again. I swear to God, I'll do it again.
That's a 23.
So you do get a hold of him this time. You grab him this
Great.
time, and he almost slips away this time, and you do get a hold of him.
Great. Then I'm gonna use my bonus action to fucking bite him.
Okay. Roll an attack.
That's another 23.
Roll damage.
That's 10. That's 10 piercing damage.
He is very bloodied. He's looking a little lightheaded.
Actually, because he's grappled, he also gets an extra 4 bludgeoning damage.
Still very bloodied. He's like on the cuffs. On that note, it's Trinket's turn. Who notices this happening, and because the hatch is blocked, is going to make the attempt to... She is going to use her... What is it called? She is going to use her feline agility to scurry out of the window and up onto the roof before drawing her rapier. And she is going to try to strike the individual you have grappled, which just hits, believe it or not. Oh, which I don't even need to roll. He's dead. So she drives her rapier through his chest. He kind of gasps in pain before kind of falling to one side. Are you going to keep holding on to him, or?
No, I'm just gonna toss him.
Yeah, he just kind of falls off the side and goes under the wheels. The other one growls angrily as Trinket kind of takes the distance, or prepares or she's going to get behind you and just kind of not cower behind you, but kind of use you as a shield. And it's now Andraka's turn.
I'll just shoot him.
All right, roll. You, as you're leaning out the window, roll an attack.
23.
That hits. There's very few stat blocks that wouldn't hit. This is not one of those.
19.
19 points of piercing damage. Wowzer, that's pretty good. You strike him. This round going, just digging deep into his gut, and he kind of stumbles a little bit, but it kind of straightens back up irritably, and he is going to attempt a breath attack on you and Journey, Magnus. I need you to roll a dex save for me.
Dex save.
You don't have to. It's only Magnus and Journey. Not Journey.
I'm
Trinket.
That's
Fuck.
really confusing. I am
The other female in the party.
19.
That's a success. Trinket isn't as lucky. And you are going to take a few points of damage. That's it. There's the number I'm looking for. You are going to take... Listen to that beautiful dice roll. Trinket will take 13 points of damage. You are going to take 6 points of fire damage. And the kobolds, who are now recovering from the mild blindness that had occurred to them, 2 of them are going to attempt to hit you with slings. One of them hits their own eye with a rock. The other one, it's cocked, is going to hit for... Does a 24 hit?
Yep.
He's going to hit you for 5 points of bludgeoning damage because he threw a rock at you, which is 2 because of your resistance. And it is now back to Incris's turn, who is going to attempt to try to escape the grasp of this draconic vehicle. My dice attacked me. That was terrifying. You watch as the jaws snap off the back of your guys' vehicle. It does inflict a bit of damage. The rear end of your guys' vehicle is looking pretty beaten up by this point. But you guys have disconnected, and the vehicle is drifting roughly about 10 feet backwards from you guys, and it is now Journey's turn. So it's roughly 10 feet away and behind you.
Okay. So how much health does this last guy have?
He's a bit bloodied.
I'm getting tired of missing with my crossbow.
Crossbow.
So I'm going to go up. I want to go out, kind of crawl out the window.
Okay.
And stab him with my.
No. Their vehicle is 10 feet from yours.
Oh, I mean, is he not on top of it?
No, he's on top of their vehicle.
Okay.
Because Magnus pushed him back, and he shot at Magnus with a crossbow.
Okay, that means while we have this little reprieve, I want to do some spot welding with that repair tool.
Okay. So the way this will work, I'm going to have you roll 5d20 to see what health you get back with it.
Okay.
To the hole.
Let's see. Here's 1d20. So that's an 18.
You can roll it all at once on D&D and Beyond. You know that, right? You click the dice. You just click the D20 5 times.
Here. Then I'm going to roll 4 more.
So the 18 plus some other numbers.
18 plus 40. So 58.
58. So you heal. So you as this back bumper that had been just completely destroyed mends up a bit. It's not perfect, but it's definitely better than it was.
How's Magnus doing health-wise? You about dead?
8.
I'm going to cast Healing Word at 3rd level.
Journey has become quite the healer.
It's like, don't die, heal 13.
13 points of health. All right, and now we're on Magnus's turn.
I only have 2 spell slots left.
10 feet away.
Yes.
I'm going to jump over to him.
All right. You lunge onto their vehicle. Roll an athletics check for me to see how well you land.
$19.
That's good enough. So you land. It's not the smoothest landing you've had today, but it's definitely a landing that is efficient enough.
The Dragonborn's tethered?
Yes.
Alright, I'm going to grapple him.
All right, and he will roll against you. Find the right dice. This one.
That's a 24.
All right, you get a hold of his arm as he tries to maneuver himself a bit.
Cool, I'm going to fucking maul him. 28.
That hits.
Then 12 piercing damage, and then an extra 1 bludgeoning damage.
Okay.
That's it.
All right. He is going to retaliate as a reaction.
He will
Against
have
you.
disadvantage.
He still rolled super goddamn high. Does a 26 hit?
Yes.
He's going to inflict, because he can't two-handed this long sword, because you are holding his other arm. He's going to do a little bit less damage, but you are going to take 10 points of slashing damage as he retaliates against you. And now it is Trinket's turn, who is going to attempt to fire an arrow at him while you are holding him. And she is going to miss. Super bad. And because of that, she is then going to... She's going to cast a magic missile towards one of the kobolds at 2nd level. And is going to hit him for 12 points of damage. As he kind of... As the kobold kind of just takes the hit and stumbles a little bit. And Draka, it is now your turn.
Bang.
Who are you shooting?
Who's alive?
The Dragonborn and 3 kobolds. One of the kobolds is driving.
Actually, is there still no fire?
There's no longer a fire.
Yeah, I'll throw an ice knife at the kobold driving.
All right, roll an attack for me, my guy.
10.
Does not hit, but I will have them roll that dodge. That one fails. That one fails. That one succeeds. The driver succeeded. What's the damage?
7.
All right, so the 2 that are kind of running around inside just have ice form on their scales, and they try to knock it off and shout in Draconic angrily between each other. Now it is all of their turns. The Dragonborn is going to attempt to strike you with his sword twice, Magnus. The first attack is going to miss. And the second does a 20 hit.
Yes.
He just barely got a 20. And you are going to take 7 points of slashing, which is reduced to 3 because of your rage. The kobolds that are inside, looking upon the individuals who are in the vehicle ahead of them, are going to... And I gotta check if the vehicle gets its breath attack back. Okay, make a note of that. The kobolds are all going to... Or 2 of them are going to fire firebolts in your direction, Andraka. First one misses. Second one also misses. However, I'm going to need to have a dex save from everyone except for Magnus as a fire ignites from the front of the maw of the Draconic vehicle.
9.
9.
15.
Which he Icarus manages to avoid again. You both failed from that. And so let me roll the damage. So half of that, so 1. So it is going to be 31 points of damage, a fire damage.
I'm down.
So Andraka goes down as the fire engulfs around the vehicle. Ingress kind of takes a bit of the damage, a bit of flame kind of coming off of his cloak as he makes his best attempt to avoid as much of it as possible. You do hear from above, Journey. You hear a thud as Trinket goes down as well.
Then what am I doing with my fire resistance? I failed.
You took half of the 31, so you took 15 points of fire damage.
Okay. 15. So I have 11 HP left.
Yes, and it is now Incarus's turn, who, in irritation and in rage, is going to fire. Let us see. He's going to cast a magic missile at the 6th level as a retaliation against everything that has happened. And he is going to aim all of them at one of the kobolds within the vehicle and inflict 15 points of damage and kills that kobold. As you watch these white streaks of light just dart through this kobold multiple times and it collapses within. Journey, it's now your turn.
Okay. Now, who do I res right now? Trinket or Andraka? Andraka's a PC. I'll res Andraka.
I was going to recommend that, but I wanted to see what you'd pick.
So I'm going to cast Healing Word at the 3rd level. So I'm out of 3rd level spell slots.
Which means you've had a really good productive
10.
day.
So heal yourself 10 points. I'll use that last Healing Word for Trinket or for Magnus.
Okay. That was your bonus action.
Oh yeah, that's my bonus action. How many people left?
There are 2 kobolds, one driving, one not, and there is the Dragonborn who Magnus has grappled at the moment.
Okay. Kobold is visible to me, pretty.
Yeah, the windshield is gone.
I'm just gonna shoot the guy.
Okay. Roll an attack on the kobold.
I got a nat 1 to 7. I don't think I've hit a single attack this entire time. It's just been like me usually doing magic.
You've hit a few. The crossbow's just not been your day. That's really what it's coming down to.
Yeah, half tempted to just throw with a freaking crossbow at the guy. Okay.
You fire your crossbow
So
and it kind of ricochets off the side and just goes off into the sand somewhere.
I look at the empty thing, kind of like when you look at like a gun that's like misfiring.
You piece of shit! I swear to God, if you miss again. It is now Magnus's turn.
Okay.
You have a Dragonborn in your grasp.
This guy's gonna take 2 bludgeoning damage because we're grappled.
Okay.
And then I'm just going to keep biting at him. Hey, I crit.
Okay. Roll damage.
Let's see. 18 piercing damage.
How do you want to do this?
I mean, by now, like, Magnus has just been fucking, like, mauling motherfuckers. So he's just going for the throat, and it's the same way, like, a fucking pit bull kills small animals.
Okay. I think I got what you're saying. So you the rest of you who are conscious and can see this, watch as Magnus draws this Dragonborn towards him, and Dragonborn, making an attempt as best he can to push Magnus back, is unable to as Magnus clamps his jaws around the throat of this Dragonborn, who opens his mouth to cry out in pain, only for you to hear a loud crack as Magnus crushes his windpipe and kind of thrashes him around for a moment before kind of tossing him off to the side. You still have one more attack, and there are kobolds below you.
Can I just fucking reach down and pluck one of these motherfuckers up?
Roll a strength check with disadvantage.
It's an 18.
You reach out and you, for a moment, kind of grasp at one, and he kind of almost slaps your hand away. Like, it's nothing that's going to hurt you or push you away, but it was just like, for a moment, like, it's like a kid trying to get away from someone trying to grab him. Just kind of like smacked your hand a little bit and backed away. But you did miss. Just barely.
This was gonna be funny, but next turn it is literally gonna be this fucking 8-foot tall, 300-pound motherfucker dropping in there and just ripping them apart like a wild animal.
It's now Trinket's turn, who is going to make a death saving throw for all of the world to see. Actually, for all of you to see, that's really what it's coming down to. That's a success. That's a thumbs up. All right. It's now Andraka's turn.
Whatever happened to that mage car?
It got burst into flames when Icarus cast Sunburst.
Yes, kind of sort of blew up.
The dragon's breath from the vehicle that you are currently fighting knocked out all the mages, and then Icarus finished off the job.
I mean, I just want to see what Magnus does, so I'm just gonna watch.
Okay. You want to prepare an action just in case, or?
Sure.
Okay, you have an action prepared. I'm just throwing that towards you just to see if the vehicle gets it. Motherfucker. All right, we're doing round 2 of this. Icarus manages to avoid as the flames begin to spit from the front of this vehicle again, as these kobolds seem to be trying to throw everything that they possibly can towards you. So everyone needs a roll that's on the vehicle. Roll a dex save, and
Jeez.
Trinket automatically fails and is going to...
So on the vehicle or in the vehicle? Everyone?
On and in.
Oh.
Fail.
15. But no, I got 21 because of my bonus.
Okay, 21. You are going to take... Am I rolling the right amount of dice? Let me double check this real quick. Yeah, that's the right number. You are all of you who failed, which is everyone, is going to take a
Failed at 21. Wow.
21 points of... Oh, no, you succeeded. You got 21. Sorry. My
I'm
bad.
down again.
Yeah, 21 points of fire damage as Trinket fails one of her death saving throws. Icarus, who is going to make a save, he succeeds and is only going to end up taking... so if you succeeded, it would be 21. If you're resistant, it would be 10. So you and Icarus both take 10 points of fire damage.
So I have 1 point of damage left.
Yes. I think I perfectly leveled this challenge rating for this fight. I'm having a lot of fun with this. I hope you guys are too. This has been a great time. Jared's probably not having fun. I'm sorry for your loss, Jared.
You should have shot.
It is now Icarus's turn, who is going to, in the realization that being in front of this thing's not a great idea, is going to swerve and come to the side of it, and is going to get next to it so that you all no longer have to get scorched ever again. And he is going to cast just a simple firebolt at the kobolds in the front. First one misses. And the second one does hit, and he's going to strike one of them, which they are fire resistant, for 6 points of burn damage. As it kind of screams at him and starts shouting. And he yells a couple things back in Draconic. It is now Journey's turn.
I'm almost dead and I'm pretty pissed, so I'm gonna reach in my bag of holding and take out Boltion's orb
Ooh. Oh.
and activate him.
You calling forth his name, for a moment there's just like a silence before this blink dog appears before you. Kind of standing there looking, kind of taking in the scene around it for a moment before looking to you for the command.
Hey boy, no, it's been a hot minute. We're in a pretty bad shape here, and I was wondering if you could teleport into the sand speeder next to us, shaped like a dragon. You can't miss it, and maul the pilot to death.
He
Could.
lets out a bark and just disappears.
Then I'm gonna
And-
cast my final spell slot, Healing Word, at first level to help Trinket, because she's several saving throws in.
Okay, how much you heal her for?
Only 7.
That's still enough to get someone back on their feet. So she wakes up, kind of lets out. You hear a gasp come from above, as she kind of comes back to. Boltion is going to lunge into the cockpit. You watch as he. Wow! I just rolled a crit. That's crazy. He is going to dive onto the one driving, as he appears on the hood of the car, and is going to inflict 7 points of piercing damage as he bites down onto the shoulder of this kobold, and it squeals in pain. And is not looking too hot. It is now Magnus's turn. As you've seen the blink dog that you remember rescuing way back in Grandhelm appearing out of nowhere and attacking the pilot of this cruiser.
Like, that's just the only reaction he'd have to that shit. Just
There's this dog appear just out of nowhere and just attack someone. It's just like, oh, this is happening.
okay. Yeah, he's just gonna drop in on these kobolds and just start he's not even gonna grab him first. He's just gonna start biting down on him. Let's
You
see.
going for the more injured or the less injured?
More injured.
Okay, that is the pilot or the driver.
Oh, never mind. The one that's not the driver. I kind of need them to attempt to keep up so I can jump back.
Okay. So roll and attack.
Yeah, I'm just dealing with numbers. Oh, mod 20.
That hits. This is a kobold. They don't have much in the terms of super high AC. This one has a pretty good one, but it's not great.
12 piercing damage.
All right, as you bite down on this one, and it lets out This one lets out a squeal of pain as it's struggling in your jaws. Roll a second
And
attack.
then a 26.
That also hits.
And that's gonna be 14 piercing damage.
You once again bite down on the throat of another creature, its muffled cries being halted by the sound of a snap as you break its windpipe and just toss it to the side. There's one kobold that remains, and it has a blink dog attached to it.
So it's only the driver? I thought there were 2 down there.
They were the two. There
I
were
thought-
3, but Incarus Magic Missile the third.
Right. I still have my movement, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna get back on the roof and jump back to the other one.
Okay.
Yeah.
That works. So you jump back.
Voltian can probably take care of the last one.
Trinket is going to, noticing what has happened, slide her way back into the hull, and she is actually going to attempt a medicine check to stabilize Andraka, which she succeeds. So that's add a check, Jared, to your death saving throws. It is now Andraka's turn to make a death saving throw. So roll a d20.
Ouch.
That's a fail. So -1. Just put an X there, or the red, or whatever. And now it is back to Incarus, who is going to double the speed of the cruiser to try to get away from the Kobold car. Oh wait, the Kobold car quickly though he's going to try to attack the Blink Dog that is tearing at him. He does succeed in a strike on Boltian. And he is using a dagger to do this. So that is going to be 3 points of damage to Boltian, who kind of takes the damage. And now it is Incarus going faster, and now it is Journey's turn,
Well, I'm almost
which is
dead.
also Boltian's turn. So I could just attack for Boltian if you would like.
Do it.
Do it. He goes for a
Actually,
second bite and gets
can I
actually
give-
pushed away. Oh wait, what are you doing?
Oh.
You
Oh,
get
so I was gonna give him a bardic inspiration.
What dice do I roll with that to add to his attack?
Let's see. That adds a D8.
That just got him over the threshold.
Ah.
Your inspiration is an inspiration to us all. No.
Finally, it does something.
I finally got to use my inspiration. And you watch as he tackles the kobold out of sight. The car swerving off to the side, and right as the car hits in a way that it starts to roll, you see the Blink Dog jump out, and then just, and then reappear next to you.
Give him like a gentle pat as I try to kind of. My character's pretty spent at this point, so I know how long the race is going to go, but I'm going to try to find kind of a place out of the way inside like the cabin where I can't really get hurt.
Yeah, he kind of just Boltian kind of appears before you and sits down and kind of looks towards you, like in a way like almost you get the impression of he's almost asking, "Did I do good?" type thing.
And then I'll just give him like a nice scritch behind the ear. It's like kind of.
He accepts the scritch.
Kind of curl up. Try not to die.
Incarus, who's looking as beaten up as the rest of you, kind of glances around, and you've all come to notice that it's relatively quiet now. All you can really hear is the whipping storm. And after a few minutes of driving, you finally come back. You come upon what looks to be several structures that have lined up. And you all pull through, and you find that you are all that remains from the race. And there are people cheering and shouting all around you as you guys drive up in your bloodied states. And Draco, by this point, you would have been stabilized because people would have worked for that. And you all, upon pulling up to this finish line, Incarus kind of slumps out of the vehicle and is approached by a guard holding a small container filled with various small healing potions. which he then distributes out, and you all will receive, because I'm just going to roll it real quick. You all are going to get back 17 points of health from the small vial, just to kind of get you into a state that I didn't mean to just kill Incarus. That was an accident. Whoops. I didn't mean to. I didn't mean
Killed
to.
somebody to death.
I didn't mean to hit damage. I meant to hit heal, and I fucking hit damage, and he was just, all right. Oh man, I'm dead. All right. But you are all back up. There's cheering and people chattering all around you all. And is there anything you guys want to do while Incarus is off to the side talking to people?
Just check that everyone's okay, post potion, and give Bolty a hug, and then I guess dispel him.
He kind of gives you a bark and kind of licks you in the side of the face before just, and he's gone. And as you all relax and take in the moment after a very hard race, Incarus comes back with a chest in hand that he kind of slides through one of the portholes before climbing in, and he kind of glances back to everyone and just says, "How's everyone doing right now?"
You know, when you said this was gonna be a death race, somehow I thought it'd be a little less fatal. I don't know. Mistake on my part.
This is normal. This is kind of the reason that we lost part of our crew last year. But we can rest once we get back to the house. And he starts driving again. And as he's driving, he kind of explains. He says, "When we get there, just everyone, we can just find a place to rest, and we'll divvy up the earnings in the morning." Kind of clenches his chest again and kind of leans forward a little bit while he's driving, kind of wincing a little bit at some pain that he's still experiencing. He says, "I could really do a rest. Probably a couple potions would be nice."
Yeah.
You all make it back to the headquarters, or the base, the house, whatever you want to call it. Is there anything you guys would like to do once you are back?
Like
There's a thing
journey
called a
washes.
bed.
Yeah.
It's called bed. Okay, that's what I was assuming. I was assuming
Jared
everyone
takes
would
like
just
a
crash.
warm hot towel or whatever, wipes off the blood, and just collapses into a bed.
So you all kind of find your places and a place to rest, lick your wounds, and try to recover. Incarus is helped upstairs by Zimmel, who also moves the chest to a room that just kind of into a room just to be left there until the morning. I'm going to say, for this night, I need everyone to roll perception check for me.
6.
You are unconscious. You can't fucking figure out shit.
It's true. Yeah. Hey, I ended that race with 1 health, so I'll take it.
What'd you say?
22.
Okay, this is as expected. Magnus, you are the only person to hear this in the night. You hear a rustling that wakes you, as you are probably somewhat of a light sleeper anyways.
Have I already gotten through my long rest?
I will say you're about 6 hours in. It's not quite there, but it'll be there in like a few hours. But you do hear a rustling in the other room. You initially thought you had heard a thud, and now you just hear a rustling around. What would you like to do?
I'm looking at how many rages I have just in case. Yeah, alright, I'll go check it out.
You start heading into the hallway. Are you doing it stealthily, or are you just kind of doing it?
Nope. Big strong man being scary. That's the plan here. They're the like if they're not supposed to be here, that's exactly what I want them to see. Just
You
axe in hand, shield on the arm. Let's go.
you swing open this door, making a little bit of noise. You hear whatever shuffling was going on stops for a moment before there's a almost a clicking sound, almost like the sound of hooves on stone, and it seems to be coming from the room that Icarus has been staying in.
He's just gonna fucking go to the room and open the door. It's just he was a part of a sport which he believes is like actively one of the worst sports he's ever been in, and he has fully died in some of his favorite sports before. So he's just gonna fucking open the door up. He's just tired of all this shit by now.
So you push open the door, and inside the room, you see a blood-soaked Icarus on the edge of the bed. Throat slit and lifeless. And as you kind of scan over the room and look, you see hanging kind of partially from the windowsill a small hooded figure holding a small, what you guess to be a bag of holding over his shoulder. And he glances back to you, small horns extruding from his head.
You only wanted him, right?
And he just says, I got what I wanted. You don't need to worry. He jumps down.
If I see you
disappears
again,
from
I'll
sight.
take your head off. Have a nice night. And he's just gonna go back to bed.
And so you just go back to bed. So the next morning, you all wake up. Are you going to tell anyone about this?
Yeah, it's just like without the blink of an eye, he just goes over, wakes up Journey. It's like Icarus died last night.
Like, what? What?
He's dead.
When?
Trinket go.
What?
How?
The middle of the night.
Yeah, like what Trinket said how?
His throat was slit.
You see Trinket like dash out of the room and like run into.
Yeah, I'm long
Icarus's room.
rested. It's time to head up to the murder scene.
And you find the same scene that you had seen: Icarus dangling from the side of the bed, throat slit. You notice the room is picked clean, and the chest that had been brought back from the race is opened and empty. There's nothing within this room of value.
Icarus is dead. The treasure is gone.
And around this point, Zimmel kind of wanders into the room, kind of wiping his eyes, and he's like, what seems to be all the... Holy
Your
shit.
friend's dead. Yeah.
Someone stole the treasure.
He warned me of this. It happens every year to whoever wins. This is a mess I gotta clean up now. And I'm
Do
gonna
you
have
know
to...
of any thieves with horns and I want to say hooves?
Talking about a satyr? There's plenty of satyrs around here. It's a place full of mischief. I love it here.
That is very odd, considering that this is not a forest.
I would have thought the same too, but they enjoy mischief, and this is a place that is notorious for said things.
Ah, yes, the highest form of mischief, murder.
Yes, unfortunately. I gotta make a few runs and see if I can find someone to resurrect him again.
Again?
He's died before.
Does this happen often?
No, this is the second time he's died.
Oh, hopefully he doesn't try for a hat trick.
We'll see. Hopefully not. He kind of wanders off down the hall and down the stairs. You hear him like exit the building. And that's where we'll end tonight's episode. On a murder. I'm also going to say you all deserve a level up because that was a fucking rough encounter. I spent 4 weeks planning this encounter, and I am so glad I spent so long planning it.
Yeah, there seems to be the problem of you forgetting we don't have an actual healer.
That's why Icarus had a healing potion. And that's why Trinket had left for several days, or the 2 days was she was looking for certain things.
Ooh, I can add a new feat.
Yes, so you are all now level 8, which means you guys get a level up long before the other party. So,
Well, they didn't have to do a death race.
yeah,
so.
they're hunting criminals. You guys are in a death race. little bit different. But on that note, did you guys have fun at least?
No, yeah, no one died. Actually had used to bring in Boltian, which is nice.
I'm so glad you brought him out. Like when you pulled him out, I went, "Oh shit, it's happening! This is the moment. They're gonna find a use for him."
Yeah, teleporting dog with moving vehicles makes sense.
It makes way too much sense, and it's wonderful. But on that note, we're going to do the outro, so we don't waste too much time at the end of the stream. So we hope you guys enjoyed this wonderful stream. I know I did. I believe the party did. I don't know. But next week will be the continuation of the Wild West campaign on Thursday. So we have roughly a week of time before anything comes up. Next Thursday at 7:30, we will be doing the Wild West. And then on Saturday at 7, we should be doing the continuing the Liars Club for Vampire the Masquerade. If I'm correct.
Yep.
So, as always, if you guys want to catch us in the next stream, join the Discord for a chance to talk to us, possibly be a part of a one-shot, and to get that sweet update for whenever we go live. Or you can join the Twitter, which I've been doing a lot of announcements on, talking about things and trying to build up the community there. Or, last off, which the easiest, follow us on Twitch and turn on those notifications so you are told immediately when we go live. And if you want to catch up on previous episodes, go to our YouTube page, which is also linked on the Twitch and in the Discord, and I'm pretty sure on the Twitter. We have very nicely organized playlist for you guys to be able to listen from beginning to end for sessions and campaigns. So we hope you guys enjoyed. We hope to see you all in the next one. Peace.